Eclipse and Sovereign winning award jockey, Emma-Jayne Wilson. Emma-Jayne Wilson.
Welcome to Journeys the Talk Show. It is now 7 p.m. on Thursday, May 19th, 2022. Our show is now live and is hosted by Sean Hall, Leroy Trotman, and I'm Brett Callahan, coming to you live from the Caribbean island of Barbados. Journeys is proudly sponsored by the Barbados Turf Club, where you can experience horse racing at the UNESCO World Heritage Site, the historic Bridgetown and its Garrison Savannah racetrack. Journeys is also proudly sponsored by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., who is inviting all of our listeners to come and visit Barbados in 2022. Here are our hosts, Sean Hall and Leroy Trotman. Hey, guys.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, fellas? How things going?
Another night, boys. Another Thursday night, and we're at it again.
Yes, we've got a great guest tonight, Emma-Jayne Wilson.
Oh, it's exciting.
One of the best women jockeys I've ever seen. So happy to have her on our show, man. It's great.
Let's include one of the strongest women female finishers.
Well, that goes with one of the best.
There you go. I like to put that part in there because one thing I love to see her do is get down and finish on those horses.
Yes, man. She's great.
So, it's amazing because she's a Sovereign Award and Eclipse Award-winning jockey, Emma-Jayne Wilson. But do you know who else we have on the show?
Well,
another Sovereign Award-winning journalist, Jennifer Morrison. Welcome, Jennifer.
Whoa, we have royalty tonight. Royalty. Amazing.
Hi, guys.
Sovereign Award ladies on the show.
Well, I do a little writing, and Emma-Jayne does a lot of riding. So. No, it's great to be here. I love your show, guys. You know, I've been a big supporter since the get-go, and been a big fan of all three of you doing what you do in the racing business.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer Morrison has been handicapping in Ontario for close to 30 years, where she won 3 Sovereign Awards as journalist. So, Jennifer, what picks of the week are you going to give our lucky listeners?
Yeah, so I thought, we'd start off just with the basic race. I'm not going to get into Woodbine. I'll let Emma-Jayne give you all the winners for Woodbine and Leroy, too. I know Leroy has winners.
The pressure's on.
Leroy's always holding out. Sean, well, we know what Sean does. He pretends that he knows that you like the horses, but he's going to tell us later. But anyways, I thought we'd talk about the Preakness Stakes on Saturday. I mean, why not? I mean,
why not?
The Kentucky Derby winner, unfortunately, isn't running, as you guys know. Rich Strike is going to pass it up and run in the Belmont, which I think we've agreed that that makes sense, yes?
Yes.
It makes sense from the horse perspective and for the trainer and owners, but as a fan, man, I would have loved to have an opportunity to have a horse to win the Triple Crown.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, as a fan... even as a bettor, I think some people, if they thought that maybe Rich Strike winning the Derby was a bit of a fluke or something, they'd love to bet against him in the Preakness. But anyways, we don't have him. We do have the runner-up, Epicenter, and, I picked Epicenter to win the Derby. I loved him, and I thought he was winning the race. I was so focused on him and Zandon coming down the stretch, and then he put Zandon away, and I thought, wow, Steve Asmussen's finally going to get his Derby win. And then here comes this horse on the inside. And it was heartbreaking just to watch that poor colt, Epicenter, because he did run the best race, I thought, in the Derby.
Yes.
He was not far off that, really fast pace and ran a great race. But what do you do with him 2 weeks later off that hard race, you guys? What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's a wise decision for the owners and trainers, I think, but they have to put the horse first, I believe. And if the trainer and owner believe in that, I got to side with the trainer and say, let's go ahead with that for the best of the
it's the
health
best
of the
choice.
horse.
I think it's the best choice that they did.
Yeah. So now we have Epicenter, who's going to be heavily favored, on paper, which, doesn't mean everything, but Epicenter is a heavy favorite. If he runs anywhere close to his race in the Derby, he will probably win the Preakness, and everything will be fine in the normal world again. But, it's 2 weeks later after he ran that really hard race. Isn't he a little bit vulnerable? I mean, do you guys think he's a little bit vulnerable?
No.
I think so.
Possibility. But meanwhile, the Jock rode a very smart race, and he set off the pace pretty nice. He didn't use that horse up very early like the guys in front of him. So I'm not gonna say directly that horse got used up a lot. So I'm gonna go with that horse also. But I'm not my horse that I'm liking in here is Shad Brown's horse.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you guys a 3-horse box, and we'll see how I do the next time we talk. But I'm going to use Epicenter, and I like the horse that Leroy's talking about, the 5-horse early voting. Won his first 2 starts, had a little bit of time off, won the Wood Memorial after it was a 2 or 3 month layoff there. And then this is another decision. So Chad Brown, knowing that his horse is still a little bit inexperienced, actually, sorry, he missed winning the Wood Memorial by a neck. He thought, I'm not going to throw him into the madness of the Derby. I'll wait for the Preakness. And, he's already done that once with Cloud Computing, which he left out of the Derby and went on to win the Preakness. So I think early voting with the fast workout, he's got the breeding, you've got Ortiz riding. I mean, I think it's just a perfect setup for early voting. And here's my price play for your exactor box, and that's the 1-horse. Simplification with Johnny Velazquez riding. I really like the way he ran in the Derby. He was pretty far back as well. Didn't have quite the same, smooth trip as the winner did. I mean, the winner didn't have a smooth trip, but the rider was a little bit more creative, let's say. And Ortiz.
It was a blistering pace, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, and I think Simplification is coming up to this race ready for a peak effort. So I'm going to box 1, 5, and 8. That's Simplification. He's a good Florida horse. Early voting from New York, and the Derby runner-up Epicenter. So
excellent.
Let's try
so all of our listeners out there, that's their first-class handicapping skills from Jennifer Morrison.
And if it doesn't win, you'll never hear from me again.
No, let's not say that. Not say that. You do an excellent job of what you do.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing your intelligence with us. I think.
Jennifer, are you gonna plug your book? Come on.
Oh yes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Come on, share some love,
there
man.
It is. Whoops. There it is.
Yes.
There we
so
go.
Run with a Mighty Heart by Jennifer Morrison. Great book. We will include in our video links so our visitors can make a purchase, or feel free to reach out to us and we'll put you on to Jennifer.
I'm going to be selling it on the Woodbine backstretch in about a week or so. I've already had 1 selling day. I know Mighty Heart is running next weekend, I think.
Okay.
And I also doing all kinds of other sales, but it's also on Amazon and all the other places like that. So
great.
Hopefully I can sell a few copies, and it's a fun little story. It's also good for people who don't know much about racing, because I don't talk about racing like a hardcore person would. It's sort of more of a
just a great introduction to anyone.
Exactly.
Interested in the sport.
Yeah.
Way to go. Well, be sure to send us your links so that we can place them on the video and get everyone to make a purchase. I have
one more thing to say before Jennifer goes, man. Leroy Trotman had a right as a win a race that must pay about $80. Did he share that love?
You got to do that to me.
Yes, I have to do that. Jennifer, did you know about that horse? Did he share it with you?
What horse?
Your job, Leroy.
The gray horse.
The gray horse.
Sabachi. I'm trying to be quiet. I'm trying to be quiet here. Can you see that?
No.
Today?
Yeah.
He won one today. Yeah.
17.
October Frost.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's on the show, and he didn't give anybody.
Well, I mean, look at him. I mean, come on. He needs to be scolded.
Leroy, go to the corner.
Okay. All right. But it's May and it says October frost. So I just was friggin', it's not that time yet.
Sean,
Okay,
should I
we'll
just
let you
click
off
him
the
off
hook
the
then.
screen, Sean?
Like I said, you got to come up with a couple of tips because I watch every week too, And yes,
Okay.
I did that journey
Great.
through, but I'm
Okay.
gonna need something.
I'll straighten myself up. Okay.
Well,
All right.
thank you so much, Jennifer. Nice
Thank you,
having you,
Jen.
and we look forward to seeing you in future shows.
You
All right,
guys
then.
have a great time tonight with your awesome show coming up, and thank you for including me.
Thank
and
you.
we'll talk to you soon.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you
man.
so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys, that
Yes.
was the first Sovereign Award-winning
Okay.
Yes.
female
Lynn.
on our show tonight.
Yes.
Can't
that's
wait.
great.
But before we go, I want to thank. There's a lot of guys behind the scenes that have
Yes.
helped us, Sean, and
Yes.
I would like to thank, on behalf of Leroy and yourself, I'd like to thank Sean Hammer,
Yes.
who handles all of our graphic designs and video preparations.
Yes.
Thanks
Yes,
so
Hammer.
much, Hammer Man, and
Yes,
we
Hammer.
appreciate all the help.
Where's Hammer though? I didn't hear him for the day, man. He's missing.
He's MIA. Anyhow, guys, let's
Yes.
get to our next segment of the show, and I'll see you guys shortly.
This is the BTMI Weekly Report.
Our BTMI Weekly Report updates you on Barbadian jockeys, trainers, and horsemen working throughout North America. First off, we would like to congratulate apprentice jockey Enrico Prescott on his very first North American win on May 14th. The 4-year-old Alberta-bred gelding is owned by Al Pitchko and trained by Rod Cohn. So congratulations to all of the connections on Enrico Prescott's first winning race in North America. Rocco Bowen won race 8 today. Sorry, that was yesterday, May 18th at Presque Downs on Chicota, his 26th North American win for 2022. Rashawn Latchman scored his 30th winner for 2022 aboard JJ Widgetman. Man, I love that name. Who took them gate to wire in the 5th race last night, May 18th at Charlestown. He also won an allowance race last Saturday, May 14th. Congratulations to him from Journeys. Barbadian Rico Walcott scored his first winner of the year last Friday, May 13th at Century Mile Racetrack and Casino in Alberta, Canada. Kevin Nichols won his second winner for 2022 at Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto last Friday on Super Pronto for Barbadian trainer Nigel Burke. Miguel Nichols started his quarter horse racing career yesterday at Ajax Downs, where he placed 4th from a couple of rides. Kemar Trotman, who is racing at Charlestown, has now recorded his most recent winner yesterday and now has a total of 12 winners for 2022. Looking forward to the weekend, we have trainer Safi Joseph, Barbadian trainer Safi Joseph, who will be aiming to win a USA Triple Crown race yet again, as he's entered Skippy Longstocking to the Preakness Stakes this Saturday, May 21st. Skippy Longstocking has drawn post position 9 in the field of 9 starters. And back at Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto, Canada, Slade Jones, son of Jono Jones, has one ride booked at Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto, Canada on Saturday, May 21st in race number 10 on Temperia for trainer Mike DiPaolo. And Slade Jones has another ride booked for Barbadian trainer Ted Holder on Coubird in race 10 on Sunday, May 22nd.
This is the BTMI Weekly Report.
Welcome back, Sean and Leroy.
Yes.
We've had a busy week tabulating all of the reports from overseas.
Mhm.
Man, Barbadians are doing pretty good still, huh?
Yeah. Can't
Keeping the
complain.
flag
Can't
keeping the
complain.
flag
The flag is flying.
Right. So we continue to support them and continue to follow them and everything that they do, and continue to get them on our show, give them that report like you just did there, Brian. And hopefully next week you have a lot more winners to share with our fans from our Barbadian riders and trainers.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we wish Safi Joseph all the best this weekend, as well as Slade Jones with his starting his career at Woodbine. Good luck to all one and all. And let's hear now from our sponsors, the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. Hi, Sean.
What's going on?
Show with Sean Hall and Brett Callahan. Here we have Corey Garrett from the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. Welcome, Corey.
Gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, man.
My chairman is still messaging me, unfortunately. You know how the entire work goes. The phone is still going off, but thank you very much for having us here having me here this afternoon. As you know, the team is backstage supporting me. But a pleasure to be here from the Barbados Tourism Marketing, and congrats to you guys on the Journeys series in promoting, of course, the horse racing fraternity and sports tourism. As we were just mentioning, talking backstage on a rail. So thank you very much for having me this afternoon.
No problem, man.
It's so great to have the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. on board. We love your commercials. Keep it up. Great work in promoting Barbados to the world. And as our listeners listen to our entire show this week and future weeks, we're going to be inviting everyone to come to Barbados.
Glad to hear. And of course, as you know, you can get all of the information on Barbados by just visiting visitbarbados.org. And we have an amazing summer special or summer campaign currently running. So anyone who's currently watching in the next couple of weeks, for sure, definitely, as you see on screen, visit barbados.org, and you can definitely check out our summer savings promotion with up to 40% and even more on savings on products on Destination Barbados. Yes, wow.
Do you hear that, Sean?
That's a wow.
40% off. Man,
I'm saying 40% and more in some instances.
40%
and more
in some instances. Yes, please.
The whole summer
long.
Wow.
Well, summer has just started. Wouldn't it be great? I'm sure there are a lot of people out there thinking what to do with their summers. And hey, come and check out horse racing at the Garrison Savannah.
Of course.
There you go.
They can start with that. The Derby is coming up pretty soon. All those big races for the summer. So you have 40% and more people. all our fans of Journeys. This is where you want to come, Barbados.
Well, that's great. How about we play this little promo? Awesome work you guys are doing at visitbarbados.org, man. Well, all those views, Sean, from beautiful sandy beaches.
Well, as we like to say at BTMI, Barbados is more than just the beautiful beaches. Barbados is so much more. So that's what we've really been trying to focus on, obviously, and showing the different elements of Destination Barbados. And there's so many elements, and we try our hardest sometimes at times to capture all of them. But we really know that there are a couple of key anchors that really definitely do promote Destination Barbados and sports tourism, and all of that is affiliated under sports tourism, from horse racing to cricket to sailing to rowing to football to rallying, and the list goes on. Definitely we understand is a major anchor in drawing people into Destination Barbados.
That's awesome. Sports tourism, man. That's really key to bring people to Barbados to come for a week, stay a while, and get your sport on.
Correct.
Well, and one time I mentioned to you, Corey, like in all my, I do a lot of work taking the horses down to the beach and thing on mornings, and what I'm really observing, there are many tourists who come to watch horses swim right there in front of Radisson Hotel. And it seems to be creating a buzz, especially on Thursdays and Sundays when people know there are more horses are coming. is this something like that we could promote more? Because everybody tells me, no, we don't see this anywhere else in the world.
Well, what I would like to say to you, Sean, is that it's not a matter if this is something that we could promote. This is something that we actively do promote. Our press teams around the world, our press team led by April Thomas here in Barbados, they actively write articles or have inclusions and mention of that tradition, as we call it, of the horses bathing down at the Pebbles Beach, as we call it. I do also believe there's a mention in one of the short stories on the website. Furthermore, when several media groups come into the island, I mean, I was there just as late as maybe, well, I can actually release it now. Sports Illustrated, who is currently hotting up the Instagram and the social media with Ciara, who was shot here in Barbados. One of the clips that we actually took them to view for some of their social media content, which is soon to be released, is that entire horse bathing experience down at Pebbles Beach. So we are cognizant of it. We do take media there. We do promote it. But as you said, we would obviously like to work with the principals from a product development standpoint as to how we can really capitalize on it from an experience standpoint in Barbados. It would, of course, take much deeper discussions. We have to obviously understand, safety, obviously, as a mainstay. We are dealing with animals. I mean, I was there the last time, just last November. And it was just striking that my uncle, who showed up at the beach with one of his he said to me, the first thing he said, he's like, Corey, you've been around these horses long enough. You know how these behave. You know how to stand. Back.
Stand back.
Exactly. So I mean, they're lovely creatures, but very powerful creatures in many regards also. So I mean, I think it's a great idea that we do look to some type of product development in that regard, how we can further expose it. It happens quite organically right now. You don't want to take away those organic elements of it, but we surely want to capture it and promote it in a very safe and valuable way for Destination Barbados. So, I mean, we do have an active product team led by our Chief Product Development Officer, Marsha Ali. We do have other tourism entities such as the BTII, who is keen to develop products around Destination Barbados, etc. So I do think it's a discussion that we should have, or that we should carry forward, having this spectacle, so to speak, of having the horses bathing in Barbados. I mean, if we look towards the examples, and we always have to benchmark against certain things, we look at the pigs that swim in Bahamas and the kind of they garner, and I mean, they're simply just pigs. So I do think I think we have a very key opportunity right there. So I do encourage the fraternity to definitely forward those discussions with the relevant parties so we can create more of an experience here in Destination Barbados.
I was speaking to Sean the other day. In our last episode, Sean did an interview of a couple of Canadian tourists. And I said, Sean, maybe this is our secret, because Sean interviewed them with the microphone with one hand and was holding a horse at the beach right there. So I was like, man, Sean, maybe that horse needs to be in every interview from now on.
Listen, that horse has been in every important move I've made so far. I met your boss, Jens. I met Jens with the same horse. That is old Joshua. We were walking to the beach, and he was kind of lost up the top there by where Juicy Factory used to be, asking which direction to go. I said, follow us this way. Just follow us. And he came, and we took picture of the same horse, Joshua. So Joshua is really the star. Everybody who have come into contact with, I've had Joshua in my hand. He just stands there, and he's not a nice horse. He's pretty mean. He knows when the camera is rolling.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because I've been a jockey for 10 plus years back in my day 20 years ago, but I've never seen a horse swimming at the beach. And guess what? People can come and visit Barbados and see that wonderful spectacle. You said, Sean, it's on Thursday and Sunday mornings?
Thursday and Sunday are the best times to come. I tell people that all the time, because that's how Barbados is designed. People work the horses Wednesday, then again on Saturday. So Thursday is always a sea day, But you see horses every day. But if you really want to get that vibe, because it's really a nice vibe to see like 30 or 40 horses in the water one stage. Thursdays and Sundays are the best times to come.
Now, what time for our visitors out there? Is it around 5?
That's where the trouble starts. That's where the trouble starts. We're supposed to be off the beach by 7:30, and we're not very welcome after that time. So, so I don't know. not everybody likes us down there, I must admit, but the tourist surely does.
So that's why, Sean, we definitely have to fuel that discussion and how we can really develop it into a real authentic product. Maybe talk to the authorities, that maybe the NCC also be involved in the discussion, and let's have some sort of coordination, maybe some support with the beach rangers at particular times in the morning, etc. Where the beaches, all beaches in Barbados are public beaches, but we can cordon off a period of time, still have access to the horses where, everything is at a safe distance. There's still a bit of interaction. It's still organic. So hence why, as I said in my earlier comments, that we really should fuel it as a discussion to really develop it into a real authentic Barbadian product with all the powers that be sitting at the table to make it happen.
But I'm so happy that you're going that direction, because I would like to add some more. Because our journey to the beach sometimes is not the best. Cars pass close. I think if we could also get a little more control of traffic, even if we put some crossing lights down there for the horses, let people know flashing lights, it would help us a lot better and make people respect that we are trying our best to keep the horses from kicking their cars or being safe to everybody around us. And even on the straight roads next to the garrison, I always said that we should need some humps up there. You know what I mean? So now I'm speaking to you, I'm taking that advantage to see if we could get some help in that direction. It's not.
I don't have all the answers for you, but the MTW is definitely a place to have. But what I would say is that out of part of product development, which is obviously something that involves branding and signage, etc. Those elements would be possible under a very well-designed product, because obviously you would need to create awareness and sensitivities of the product to the product. Horses crossing here, or horse viewing available Thursdays and Saturday mornings between the hours of XYZ. I'm sure as part of the product development, there will be some sort of signage that's definitely erected. So maybe that will definitely aid also in those issues that you're currently having in that regard.
Yes, I love that. I love what I'm hearing, man. It's a good conversation.
We just have great ideas that we're coming together, but we need to see the relevant ones, of course.
Yes, we just put great heads on meeting here today.
Correct.
Well, what we also want to do is promote sports tourism. So we want to invite all those other team sports athletes. We got it all in Barbados, whether it be cricket, beach volleyball, basketball, man. You can't play road tennis at the beach.
I can show you a post-it note that's currently next to me. So we're talking from golf to surfing to, obviously we have Bushy Park, which is the only FIA certified track in this hemisphere. We have the upcoming Rally Barbados. We have Run Barbados. We have sailing coming up. We have road tennis, which is one of the world's last known indigenous sports. And indigenous, of course, meaning it is homegrown, raised, born, created here in Barbados, just like rum. We have a bodybuilding classic coming up in Barbados. We have dressage, and on the equestrian tip also, we have dressage classics also coming up. So Barbados,
Roberta Foster's a friend of mine, so I know about that.
All right. So Barbados, we talk about as a events hub. We talk about Barbados as the culinary capital, but we can also talk about Barbados as a home for sports, or a hub for sports here in the Caribbean, because of so many sporting disciplines that go on here in Barbados. And it's not only from the commercial standpoint or from the spectator standpoint, but there's also the capacity for facilitation and training in many of these sports. And that's where we are also looking to take its sports tourism product. As we were talking earlier, of course, and we talk about exporting Barbadian talent, but there's also a great desire and a great opportunity to create talent here in Barbados with the expertise that Barbados has created. Over the years, we always hear our Prime Minister saying Barbados punches above its weight, and that is also in the sporting arena. As I said before, having some knowledge of the entire racehorsing network, I would have heard Brett himself, these names, and these guys would have campaigned in Canada, Patrick, etc. for so long. So we know that at the end of the day, these guys have reached the greatest feats in the sport. We just had Safi Joseph Jr., literally, who lives at the hill from me and his brother actually together, who just competed in the Kentucky Derby, which is one of the world's most prestigious horse races. So we have already punched above our weight in the horse racing category. We have already punched above our weight in so many sporting disciplines and regards. So it is time, and it is with the vision in mind at the BTMI that we take and we export this talent, but we also create the facilitation for some of this talent to be homegrown and for some of the overseas expertise to also come in and help us grow our talent even further, so we can even punch heavier above our very small destination.
Correct.
It's fabulous because Sean was shared a document with me. I think Sean, you and Jonathan Jones, another ex-jockey of Barbados, created a document in 2014.
Yes.
You go ahead, Sean, and explain.
It was Jonathan Jones and Marsha Hines Lane, but she accused me when I first came back here that we come back to this island and we don't give back. And this is my introduction to the lady, and she was giving me a body shot. You know what I mean? So. I quickly made friends with her, and you know what I mean. We put our heads together, myself, Jono, and her, and we came up with John said a document there that
a possible
really
racing academy.
Yeah, racing
Corey.
academy.
Well, gentlemen, in one of my notes on my post-it notes right in front of me, also includes creating a racing hub in Barbados, because that's the exact point I was going to. That we have opportunities to create racing academies here in Barbados. We want to create driving academies here in Barbados, cricket academies here in Barbados, so that Barbados is also known as a center of excellence. And all of these fit strategically into how we are positioning brand Barbados from a tourism standpoint.
And Sean came up with this document in 2014, and he shared it with me just a few weeks ago. And I said, Sean, a new passion, a new energy. Let's try and promote this, because if we could build an academy where we could train horsemen, I think Robert Pierce and the Horse Charity is already doing that and teaching young jockeys how to respect and learn horsemanship skills. That all come up to becoming apprentice jockeys and have gone overseas. So
but
this racing academy is something that you can really start, Sean.
Yeah, but one thing you got to remember, right, is that we have over, I think what is last count, it was 10 Barbadian jockeys who have been champions at different tracks around North America. So when you have 10 people, that means when you're a champion, that means youngsters in that area idolize you. You know what I mean? And we got those type of men in North America who are idolized by thousands of Canadians and Americans already. And I think we got to take advantage of that. We got to take advantage that the Garrison is the home of champions. And I keep saying that.
It is.
It's the home of champions. Safi Joseph was from the Garrison. Sir Michael Stout was from the Garrison. Patrick Husbands was from the Garrison. Rico Walcott, Ricky Walcott,
Rocco Boyne, Ricky Griffith.
So you already have me thinking that you guys need to approach, and everyone that is watching should probably toss me for this, that you need to approach the Turf Club in having a champions race held in Barbados. The champion owners, champion horses, if possible, from around the world. There's never been a Caribbean challenge. And these are the level of events. Not saying, of course, that we don't have already, which we do A-class horse racing here in Barbados. Of course, we have the Sandy Lane Go Cup, and I know there's some plans for some other deliverables in the horse racing portfolio. But these are the type of events and discussions that we want to have, so that we at the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., through our PR channels and marketing channels, can go and tell these stories to the entire world. Of course, supported by the backline stories. Do you know Barbados is a known horse racing destination with champion jockeys surfacing among all of these tracks across the Caribbean? But at the same time, we also have the Caribbean's most prestigious horse race, coupled with, of course, a champions race where all of the international champions seek to come to the Caribbean destination to race their horses. And it could be a week of events. So I'm giving you guys maybe Rosette some homework or some challenges there, because these are the types of ideas, the types of mainstream products that we at the BTMI would gladly like to take to the world stage and have international partners even on board to support them.
But Corey, it was funny. We had Hall of Famer Chantel Sutherland on our show a couple of weeks back, and she has ridden in a Jockeys Championship in Barbados. When was it, Sean? 2004 or?
I think it was 2005.
2005. So she rode in Barbados, and she races with Patrick Husbands all the time. And we invited her on that show just a few weeks ago would she be interested in coming to Barbados? Because we wanted female jockeys to come and compete with our Barbadian jockeys, and kind of have a challenge similar to what you're saying, Corey. But I think you're taking it one step further. Let's get a champion of champions, not just male and female.
Yes.
Well, there you go, gentlemen. The seeds have been planted.
It's been planted right here at Journeys Talk Show. So that's
there
great.
You go.
Great. Well, we want to thank you, Corey, again for coming on board. Thank you and the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. for all your support. We would love to have you on board in the coming weeks. If you have any new programs, one of the things you want to promote, you said, was the summer savings program, correct?
Yes, please. BarbadosSummerSavings.com. You can visit the website directly, or you can go via our mainstream website, which is www.visitbarbados.org. And as I said before, there's savings there on accommodations, on car rentals, on restaurants, and a whole lot more, 40% and more, all available in Barbados this summer. So we're inviting everyone down to Barbados. As you said, Sean, there's some exciting horse racing action, but there's also crop over coming up, of course, our annual carnival, so to speak. And then, of course, this is a very unique carnival. There is, of course, Rally Barbados, which is happening in the next couple of weeks. There is cricket happening once again at the end of summer, the New Zealand tour, and some one-day internationals coming up. So Barbados is really a lot of action for this summer, for events, for sporting, for just general relaxation, to rejuvenate. The destination is open. We continue to promote how safe the destination is in all regards. Before COVID, we were a safe destination. Through COVID, we remain safe. And post-COVID, or as I should say at this point in time, we continue to maintain those safety levels. So we are open for business, and we look forward to meeting some new folks here on Destination Barbados.
Great.
Excellent.
Great, man.
Well, thank you once again.
Thank you for coming,
Corey. Corey Garrett from the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Yes.
Great job, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Have a
We now welcome to our Journeys Talk Show Sovereign and Eclipse Award-winning jockey, Emma-Jayne Wilson.
All right.
Hello. How are you all?
Thank you for waiting for us, Emma.
How are you doing?
Long wait.
Doing excellent, Sean. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes. I'm here in about Paradise. As you can see, we're promoting our island. I think in these bad times, we really have to do our best to promote this beautiful country of ours. And sorry for the delay, but I hope you understand. It's important.
No, you know what? During the delay, I was trying to type the website because, you convinced me on those days down to the beach. I definitely want to be there. That is something I would love to experience. And I'm in the horse racing game, and you've got me tied in. Like, I'm there for sure.
Have you ever seen horses swimming? I know there's certain pools.
Way, and it's one of those things I definitely have on my bucket list, because it's just I see the videos on social and I'm just like, that's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So it is definitely something I will be there for. Maybe if I don't know if I could take advantage of the summer deals unless I get in some more trouble, but we won't worry about that.
No, we don't want to be doing that.
No.
So before we go any further though into your journey, Emma, we were chit-chatting the other morning on the track, and we're family people here, and you mentioned something to me about one of your daughters, that she had a medical procedure, and children are something to my heart, and I have a little one here, and when I see you talking about your kid, you should see the look on your face that I saw. I know when it comes to the horses is one thing, but what I saw on your face, it was a different Emma I saw there. So can you just tell us, please, your daughter's is okay, everything's good with her?
Absolutely. Okay. Totally. It was a routine procedure. We have twin 5-year-old girls, and my one daughter, Grace, has had some issues with her adenoids and her tonsils, and routine procedure to remove the adenoids. Not a big deal, but I mean, any parent can say, you see your child hurting, and all you want to do is and take that away, like eat it, no matter how big, how small, you know. So it was a good, you know, 7-10 days where she just wasn't herself, you know, and I wanted to scoop her up, take that pain away, and you know, wind her up and turn her loose back to normal. And I could, you know, we did the best we could. She's wound up and running around now. So if you hear any banging upstairs, that's them getting ready for bed. So.
And it's a pleasure whenever you win your races, sending your kisses out to them. I love that too. That's another thing. When it comes to kids, my heart just melts. So it's a pleasure watching you doing that every time you win.
Very much look forward to seeing mama blow kisses to them in the winner's circle. So it's a icing on the cake when you get in the winner's circle to get a chance to just say hi. So.
Personal hi.
Okay, so now we're gonna get to your journey, because you had over 12,900 and something starts as a rider, and you've over 1,700 and something wins as a rider, with over $81 million, $953 in earnings, and still going. So entice us on that wonderful journey from where you started to where you are now, please.
That's those are a lot of numbers, I'll say, Leroy. And, I'm very
proud
of those numbers.
And still going.
Still counting. Absolutely. I usually like to let everybody else do the counting. Just keep my head down and ride. But to stop and think back to the, you know, Jennifer Morrison, we were chatting a little earlier about how long we've been at the track, and I still feel like I've just started, and I've been at Woodbine racing, you know, with the Thoroughbreds since about 2001. So it's been about half my life, and it's hard to think back to that. There's been so many ups and downs, challenges and whatnot. But I mean, as anyone does, professional athlete, you know, there are injuries and you know, hiccups along the way. But it's my career has been extremely fortunate, been very good to me, as you testament to the numbers. And the plan is to keep on going for a little while longer.
Well, Emma, I remember when you first started off, you were very regimented and how you trained to your first ever race. You were seen at the racetrack, you were exercising, and you went through a lot of routines that most people wouldn't pay attention to. Tell us more about that for our youngsters who have an envision to be a jockey. It's not just one day you're on a horse and you're racing, but you went through a great process of getting your body fit. And tell us more about that.
Well, I mean, I've been an athlete all my life. I played fast pitch for 15 years. I played rugby all through high school. So there's, you know, that level of you know, being a student of that game in each in particular. And in those instances, you know, playing rugby in high school or, you know, fast pitch through the years, you have coaches. In horse racing, you don't really have that. I mean, as a young rider, an aspiring rider, it's on you to be the student. So that was something that was really important to me to sort of analyze, break down, especially from a technique standpoint, from riding and overall fitness. If you're going to be an athlete, like you've got to be strong. It doesn't matter whether you're playing badminton, riding racehorses, or you're a NASCAR driver. Like there's intensity that's required, and there's focus, and there's you know, fitness that's required. So I took a lot of what I had learned as a young athlete and sort of assimilated it into, you know, what I needed to become as a rider. You know, I remember Roger Atfield still remembers when I warm up before I would gallop at Payson Park. I'd run around the barns a couple of times, mildly embarrassing, but you know, it's you know, it's what I knew.
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do, right. So, you know, I what I knew, I warmed up, I'd stretch, and I was an athlete. What is great is as you develop, and as I was at Woodbine, I had mentors along the way. I mean, one of my key mentors at the time was my current agent still, Mike Luter, you know, helped me with the guidance that I think every young rider really needs. And before him was I
could see how very important it is to have him guide you.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people need to understand that's the importance of athletes, that they have great trainers and coaches.
I have a phenomenal team behind me, starting with Mike Luter. I mean, it even boils down to my wife and my kids. They support me. They understand what it is for me as an athlete. For example, when Grace wasn't doing well in the, post-surgery and she's up at night, my wife knows that, it's important for me to be at 100%. So, she turns the monitor off and she goes and helps out with the girls and makes sure that, I get a good night's sleep, because then that way my clients, my horses, my well-being is one of the priorities, and I can get out there and perform at my best.
Yes, important. Great. Very important. We had a young lady have a young lady riding in Barbados presently right now. Or Sean, you can help me here with this, Sean. And she rode it was 2 weeks ago, Sean?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
When her legs kind of got a little tired on her. I think she rode 2 races that day or something like that, guys.
Yeah. I think it was her first 9 furlong race.
First 9 furlong.
She was it was a photo finish, so maybe by a head or a neck, and coming to like the 8th bull, she kind of fell forward on the horse's neck, but she kept trying, and she finished second, beating the neck. And unfortunately, while galloping out, she just dropped off. But thankfully, I think she's safe.
Yeah. So what you were speaking about just now, Emma, with your athleticism and stuff like that, growing up, knowing that playing all those different sports, it helped you to discipline yourself, to prepare yourself mentally and physically to be where you are today. So you can hear you sharing that, hoping that young lady, gets a chance to listen to this, or in the future watch this and hearing you. As I know you don't like to use that female thing too much as right, and you like to be addressed as a rider. Sorry, I know that about you, but I'm just doing this for the young lady more than anything else, so that you'll be an influence on her.
Well, see, and one of the important things is, Leroy, is representation. It's having young women watching the races, and if all they ever see are men being jockeys, there's even that assumption that maybe they're not allowed. Yes. So being a role model and being out there as a rider, as a woman, it's important to show that it's possible and you are capable. And you speak to fitness, and I go back, not only on part of my team is my agent and my family, but I also have my personal trainer that I've used for several years in the off season. When the season's quieter, I train like there's no tomorrow, and one of the things, interesting story was, I think when I first started, I was overall fit. I played so many different sports. I was overall fit, and I started riding races, and that was my focus. I quit doing everything else. It was my career, and that's what I was going to do. And I'd say about 5, 6, 7 years in, I started to notice some trends in my technique. And, I wasn't happy with those trends. My knees would collapse in a touch. And I was like, why is that happening? And I analyzed it. And it turns out now, I figured it out with this personal trainer, that I wasn't as CrossFit. I wasn't as overall fit as I once was. I was race fit. So there was muscles, et cetera, that weren't nearly as balanced as I once was when I was, 20. And with the focus and the attention on that, especially like lower body and focusing my exercises through a professional to build my fitness. And this is 10 years into my career, to rebuild and restructure and start again,
it's
and
kind of
really
optimizing your body.
Absolutely. And I didn't realize at the time. I noticed things that were changing, but to take that step back and reanalyze, go back to basics as a professional who's been riding for 10 years already, I felt it was important to readjust. And you can actually see a lot of that progression, even in the last couple of years, where I've changed my style a little bit. I ride a lot shorter, a lot like professionally, other jockeys that know, they're like, why are you're suddenly riding so much shorter? It's because I'm stronger. I'm fitter. I'm stronger because of just a few adjustments in the gym over the last couple of years, and it pays off on the track.
So important.
Yeah.
So important.
No, one thing I could say, right, especially being in Canada, every female rider have a back history of being a good athlete behind them. Chantel obviously played hockey.
Yeah.
Melody Pinto was a swimmer. She used to swim. Julia Brimo was a runner. So everybody, and I think that's the problem with us in Barbados. A lot of girls just are not really athletes to begin with, and you try to tell them, you got to start doing something athletic. You got to really.
That's very important.
Yeah, very important.
But
and I think that it trickles down as well, both men and women. You get the successful riders, or the riders, whether they're male or female, are the ones that are dedicated athletes. It really boils back to that. So without that structure and that discipline and that technical analysis, I mean, I can break down young riders on an equicizer very, very quickly. But when I was learning to ride, before I ever rode races, I would take models. I would take pictures of jockeys, and I would circle out their joints, their shoulders, shoulders, hips, knees, feet, and I would break it down to a simple form as to how they are being most effective. So that's the same as when you're playing golf and you break down your swing from the beginning to the end. There are aspects of analysis and technique that have to be implemented into being a rider. You're not just going, around riding your pony horse anymore. You're an athlete, so you need to step up your game.
I love that perfectionism that you have about that. I mean, I thought I was a perfectionist, but man, when you break it down those ways, I almost penalized myself. Man, and I thought I was a jockey. I mean, like, I did nothing like that. So
I'll be honest with you,
for that.
It's really been fun too, because there's moments through my career, even now, where a young rider will come to me and ask for advice, and I will, from a technical standpoint, I love it. It brings a certain joy to me about, helping develop some of these, younger riders that don't know. And most of the time they're hesitant to come to you, but I'm like, yes, please. Because what it does for me as well is it gives me that chance to analyze them. And then I'm like, oh, that worked for me. You process it, you assimilate it. You're always tick, 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 to see what can make you better. Always looking to build the better mousetrap, or be the better jockey.
We have the
brain of yours is always clicking. Is always, how can I?
Always.
And I mean, as a horse person altogether, I mean, me for myself personally, as a horse person, you always want to be better. How can I be better? How can I be better? Yesterday is done and gone. What can I do to be better tomorrow? And that's what is so admirable about yourself and good riders and good horsemen, because they never look back at, hey, I did that yesterday. What can I do to be better tomorrow? It's always about tomorrow. You win the first race today. You want to know tomorrow, hey, when can I win two more? When I can win the next?
Forget the first race today and worry about tomorrow. It's the next race. You want to win the next one too.
Exactly. So that's so.
Even if you don't win, you have to be able to turn that page and go on to the next one.
That's right. So it's so important. You know what I mean? So like when we look back and see things here with your writing and stuff like that, when you started, and you've done some great, wonderful things as an apprentice. You 2 awards as an apprentice. In 2018, I think it was, or no, sorry, not 2018, in 2011. Overall stats, number 11 in North America in earnings. I mean, all these things, we got so much to talk about. I know we can talk about the health part of the game, the physical part of the game, but I really want to get into your riding.
Okay.
I want to get into your career, right? And I want to, let's squeeze that lemon and hear more about it, because that's the exciting thing. And I'm sorry for using that female thing again, but I know you're gonna get me for it. I know that, but my apologies. You know what I mean?
Representation. It's all about representation.
Yeah, and I mean you're the only jock that still has the same agent. Let's mention that, because I'm an agent too from when you first started, which is so important too in this game, and for people to understand that out there. You know what I mean? As an agent, for me speaking, on a young age, I'm still a young agent in the game. But you and your agent be together from day one, and you guys are still doing it and still being successful. So squeeze that lemon a little bit for us. And
it's actually very remarkable for other people that 2 people have stuck together in their business relationship, and look how successful they've been.
Yes.
Applause to you and your agent as well.
Come on, Emma, squeeze it out. Come on.
It's been really interesting. Mike and our relationship has, like you said, from day one, where I was the aspiring rider, student of the game, looking for any information that I could. progressed into being a rider and catapulting to being leading rider, leading apprentice, Eclipse Award, Sovereign Award. So I remember when I sat down with Mike before I started, we wrote a goals list, and one of those goals were, Sovereign Award. And I remember thinking, okay, yeah, that's attainable. And he says, don't forget to write down Eclipse Award. And I was like, yeah, shoot for the stars, man. But there's that moment inside of me where I'm like, that's attainable, but that seems like a tall task.
Yeah,
we did it. And it's those moments where you write those things down that's significant. So Mike and I, our relationship has gone from where he was essentially the coach, the teacher, the mentor, especially to the points where he could, and if he couldn't process or give me the answers that I needed as a technical jockey, anyone that doesn't know Mike Luter, he's bigger than Leroy, he's taller than Leroy, he is not jockey size at all. So he would go out of his way and he would find me people that I needed to analyze that information and get those questions. So that relationship really developed. It is very strong. I say it to this day that I wouldn't be where I am today without his guidance. And it has progressed also. We've had our ups and downs. There's been good years and bad years. I get injured and he has to sit on the sidelines, or, find another jock and hustle. But there's ebbs and flows, and we've gone through some ebbs, and now we're back into some really good flows, and the last couple of years have been absolutely stellar. And I take a lot of pride in being able to ride those waves. Jockeys are essentially on one race contracts. You ride your heart out, you do everything you can, and depending on the relationship you have with a trainer, you might not necessarily get to ride that horse back, and you get I feel like having that kind of confidence from a trainer where you can ride your race without second guessing whether they're going to be unhappy. You can be the best jockey on the grounds because you have that confidence from the people behind you, and that loyalty and understanding and relationship is partially what boils down with Mike and I, is that there is that trust of confidence, and it enables him to do the job to the best of his ability, and I can have the confidence that he's representing me in that way, that it means that things are flawless for the most part, but there's that effortless sort of confidence that it means I don't have to worry about my business, and I know Mike is representing it to how I want it to be done.
Emma, I've been watching you ride this year so far. Is it your time this year to win a championship, you think?
Well, it will be. I'll be back at the top. 2004, I won 2005, I won the leading rider at Woodbine. 2006, I was leading rider at Woodbine. So I'm going back. We're sitting knocking on the door. Absolutely. I'm always going to shoot for the top, and I want it more than ever. In 2018, 2019, I had a couple of bad injuries that really just kind of took the wind out of my sail for that as the goal. I still managed to be, top 5 in the standings here. And I think, I was pretty proud of that. So pandemic has sort of abbreviated our season. And I do think that one of the things, the length of our season is one of the things that makes this such a hard track to stay consistent, stay at the top. You can win a 3-week championship leading rider at Keeneland when it's only 3 weeks. Sure, that's absolute in its own right, as tough as you can get. But to the other end of the spectrum, with that length, you have to stay up there and consistent for such a long time.
All year, And that's what I'm saying. You're looking so sharp this year, man. You're looking like you're going to kill those guys.
Fierce. I'm all over this.
I love the commitment, though. That commitment to your profession. And like you said, you've been doing it 15, 20 years, and you just reanalyze everything else again. So you can never stop learning. To all the kids out there.
So that said, we've just not ridden at Woodbine. We've ridden in the States. We've ridden, in Europe and stuff like that. Come on, Emma, you're holding back on me, man. Share those experiences with me, man. Just put me in your shoes for a little bit. I'm not the size to be a jockey, But and I've had, been an assistant trainer. You win some took a lot of pictures together. Come on, you're not squeezing that lemon. Do I have to call Mike?
Okay.
Do I have to call Mike or what?
You had told me before I started riding races that I would experience the things that I've experienced through horse racing. I wouldn't have believed you. Like, no chance. Like you said, I've ridden in Jockey Challenge in Japan. I've ridden in Jockey Challenge in Hong Kong. I was invited to go and stay in Hong Kong for a short-term visa. It was one of those opportunities where, I was on the phone and they said, would you like to come? And I'm like, yes, but can you give me can you give me a week to think about it? And they said, 24 hours. And you can't say no to that. And I packed up all my stuff. I was in New Orleans. I packed up everything. My dad drove my car and my dogs and everything back home, and I jumped on a plane and went to Hong Kong. Like, my mind was blown. It was some of the best racing that I've ever experienced. It was one of the grandest times for me personally. I grew so much. It was not an easy time. I was there by myself in another country, total culture shock, overwhelmed, and the racing there is such quality. And I didn't win a race, and I got to go back and win a race there. I finished second like 9 times. I think the total times I was beat like this. Yes. I was like, come on! Like, I'm losing my mind. Take that step back and go, like, I was riding races at Happy Valley in Hong Kong. I was living at Sha Tin, doing track work every morning. I've gone to England and Ascot and the Shergar Cup. I mean, the experiences that I had at Ascot were just unbelievable. I've been repetitively re-invited, and I've had some of the best experiences in my career there. I had a chance to, they run some really long distance races there, 2 miles, and the thing about the Shergar Cup, Sean, you were talking about earlier about champions and champions. The people at Ascot and the Shergar Cup have really figured out how to do this and do it right. And they do such a challenge where there's 6 races on the card, you sit one, and you essentially ride every distance from like a 5/8 sprint to a 2 mile stairs. And I tell you, Ascot is the most amazing places to be. And from a fan of horse racing, watching, for example, Tepin go there and win at Royal Ascot, I know what it looks like to stand at the top of the stretch there, and you're looking to the wire. You're not looking straight. It's not flat. I know we all know that European racing is undulating, but this is not just undulation. This is, you're up a stiff hill. You go up, close on that the way they do. Like, when they come to North America, it's no wonder that they do so well. This is like running downhill to them. Like, it's some of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. So,
we got a video here from 2014.
There we go.
Do you remember a horse named Retirement Plan?
Yes, that was my very first winner at Ascot, and I'll tell you a little story about this one. So these horses are in the Shergar Cup are all done on a random draw. So you don't know which jockey you're going to get. They just lump them all in. And I remember I was in the jockey's quarters with Haley Turner, and her and I, go way back, and she's a phenomenal rider. And she was on the phone, and I overheard her talking. No, she's good. And I kind of said to her, what was that? And there was some slight hesitation, I think, from, one of the crew of this horse, that he's a big, strong, strapping colt, and he has a tendency to be a little bit, wants to be in charge, and you don't know who you're getting. Like, some of these guys over there didn't even know who I was, and they said, is she going to be able to handle this horse? And Haley's like, yeah, no worries, it's good, don't worry. And he, and going 2 miles, we don't go 2 miles. All the commentators were talking about this, like, oh, these North Americans, they just go 5/8, and I'm like, no, I'm in. I love these races. So this was my first winner at Ascot.
Okay, check this out.
2 riders here as Emma goes in to complete the line. They're ready. Racing, they're off. for the Dubai Duty Free Sugar Cup Stayers, the second leg. Now, who wants to make the running? Answers on a postcard, please. There's absolutely no early pace on at all here. Retirement Plan is just about the first to go on, and we've got the pinks in front here. It's Retirement Plan and Emma-Jayne Wilson, being joined by Earth Amber on the outside, and then moving very wide up there as well is Buckland in the black cap and the blue for Europe under Adrien de Vries, who's having his first ride in this race in a Sugar Cup. And then also moving up is Sir Frank Morgan. So it's two girls and two Europeans at the front, and right at the back is Edge of Sanity as they start to make the turn and go down towards the King George start. The leader then is Buckland for Europe in the black cap for Adrien de Vries. Out in front, the noseband then of Retirement Plan and Emma-Jayne Wilson on the inside for the girls, being joined then in third place as they start to move around by Sir Frank Morgan in big white face for Frankie Dettori. And then further back on the inside as they continue at best the very moderate pace to Kashgar on the inside for Richard Hughes for Great Britain and Ireland. And then moving up on the outside behind them is Hayley Turner on board, Earth Amber on the inside, then Hassel, who is in cheek pieces for Europe, and Olivier Pellier. And right at the back of the field, you've got two yellows, namely Big Thunder, and also towards the back of the field, Deb stepped up in trips, so they've employed different tactics. And last of all is Edge of Sanity under Jimmy Fortune for Great Britain and Ireland, and they've already come nearly halfway. They're making their way down to Swinley Bottom. And the leader on the inside is Buckland. Black cap for Europe and Adrien de Vries. Out in front by about a length from in second place in the noseband Retirement Plan, Emma-Jayne Wilson representing the girls, but now passed by Sir Frank Morgan. So Europe first and second. On the outside, Big Thunder has made eye-catching ground under Smanga Kamalo for the rest of the world and gone into third in the yellow. And then the two girls in behind are in fourth place. Now is Retirement Plan, and just in behind Retirement Plan is Earth Amber. Then starting to improve is Kashgar under Richard Hughes in the black cap, and then after him comes Moidor and Stephanie Hoffer in the white cap, and still at the back of the field the cheek pieces of Hassel, and last of all is Edge of Sanity and Jimmy Fortune for Great Britain and Ireland. There is one further back behind them, and that is Deb under Yuichi Fukunaga as they start the climb, and they're well past halfway. And it's the boys in blue in the front at the moment. On the inside, the black cap of Buckland for Europe. On the outside, also for Europe, Sir Frank Morgan and Frankie. Nothing going better at this stage than Smanga Kamalo for South Africa, and the rest of the world on the outside just starting to niggle a bit at Big Thunder. In behind in fourth place then comes Retirement Plan, and then a length further back behind those to Earth Amber and Hayley Turner for the girls. And then after her, starting to make the turn for home, is Kashgar. Stephanie Hoffer wants to be on the move on Moidor in behind them, but as they turn for home, the leader is Buckland and Adrien de Vries, his first ever ride in the Dubai Duty Free Sugar Cup, and he's out in front and he's got them on the stretch here now. Not finding an awful lot. Retirement Plan in behind, but it's hard work for Emma-Jayne Wilson, but she is now starting to close the gap. Back in third place continues to be the grey, which is Big Thunder for the rest of the world. Coming from the back of the field, here is Hassel in cheek pieces for Europe under Olivier Pellier, but she's got to the front. Emma-Jayne Wilson on Retirement Plan for Lady Cecil. It's one for the girls. It is Retirement Plan that will win. Second home is Buckland, and in the end it's quite close for 30. Maybe it's gone to Hassel, but this is one for Emma-Jayne Wilson, and it's Retirement Plan who wins for the girls.
First, number 5, Retirement Plan.
That was awesome.
Wow.
How long was that race?
2 miles.
2 miles.
And the thing, so I talk about the steep rise from the top of the lane. Well, you start midway through, you come up to the top, and you can see the hill as you turn and you go back to the bottom of Swinley Bottom. Like, it's all downhill. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, I remember I've looked everywhere for a while because I wanted to see what the topographical, like a map, would look like of Ascot, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I guess this is clearly before I had children and I had a little more free time. I sat down on like Google Earth and I plotted every 16th or so, and I wrote down the distance, like the elevation, and like just the difference was just amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the amazing thing that I was thinking, all right, well, number one, you go and walk the track. and envision it. But now you're going into the topographical. Like, once again, you're 100 steps ahead of me.
I want to share a joke with you guys with Emma, because when I was assistant trainer for Reed, we had a horse called AP Beer. And this horse, everybody that ride him, he gets finishing second all the time. And I said to the coach, I called Reed coach. I said, Coach, we gotta get Emma on this horse, man. We gotta get Emma on this horse. Finally got on this horse, and I remember saying to you in the pod, I don't know if you can remember this, but I said to you, Emma, I want you to do something for me with this horse. Whenever you decide to pick this horse up and ride him to the wire, wherever you start to ride, please don't take your head. You're gonna get him home. Just don't take your head out. Wherever you decide to start riding him, don't stop. You're the one I know can get this horse home for me. And I remember she got this horse home, guys. She got him like this much. But I remember the funny part about it. I remember is in the winner when we go to hold her to come to the winner's circle. She was saying, Leroy, you are wrong about this. Oh my! I said, Emma, just catch your breath and we'll talk after. That's how much she put into finishing on this horse for me, and she got him home. But everybody else was always finishing second on him. And just watching her ride that race, it just reminded me of that horse again.
Listen, I saw Emma. This is when I became an Emma-Jayne Wilson fan. I don't even think it was any type of special race. But all I know is that she rode a horse, and 5 furlongs out, she had no horse. She was just riding this horse, and everybody else was not doing the noodle thing. And you kept riding, and I know if anybody else was riding that horse, they would have stopped at the 3/8 pole, and you know what I mean. And for some reason, the horse said that at the 2 furlong pole, the horse, like he said, that if I don't start running now, this lady's gonna kill me.
Oh, hey, come on now.
But this horse all of a sudden sprouted wings from having nothing. You were riding this horse 5 furlongs out, and he just took off and won the race. And they said, any other jockey, you know what I mean, because they would have given up. I know that. And it showed me how much, I don't know how strong you are.
Determination, I think, is a good word.
Talent, I don't know, it's everything in one. You know, it's not natural, man. I mean, I was a jockey, and I know that it's not an easy thing to ride a horse like that 5 rounds out and still keep with him. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Sean.
You know, it's amazing, man.
When you look at your stats, Emma, I mean, you win multiple stake races and you win them more than once, but the one that stakes out a lot is the Valedictory, because you won that 4 times.
I love that race.
You know what I mean? So just to show you, right? I mean, you win the Maple Leaf 3 times, but the Valedictory is the one that sticks out more in your stats. You know,
I love the Valedictory. It's one of my favorite races.
You can sit down, you know, and analyze those things on your stats and stuff.
One of the last races of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, mile and 3/4. Come on with that distance.
I think I remember that race at Greenwood one. Didn't they have that race at Greenwood? 1993,
you're showing your age now, Brett.
Yeah. It was the year I came to Canada, and it was the last season at Greenwood, and they went around that track about 2 or 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, because that's what I'm going to do.
So, as saying that we rode at Ascot, now let's break it down a little more. Let's get to one of the favorite horses that you like to ride. And you have that horse's name on your license plate. Well, I have to talk about that horse before I go into the big Mike Fox and the Queen's Plate and stuff like that. But that horse name is stuck on your license plate, and it's stuck there for a reason, because you have, is that a sentimental thing with that horse? Whatever it is what you have with that horse. So, but before we start talking about that horse, Brent, I need you to show me one of those races with that horse.
Which horse?
Yes, please.
Which one, Leroy?
Just Russian.
Yes,
we got plenty.
Oh,
with
please.
Plenty.
Which
Just
horse?
one of
Give me
them.
the name.
Just Russian.
Just Russian. Yeah. You got about 4 or 5 of them with that horse. And this, I was looking for your car all yesterday and today, but you didn't drive it in because I wanted to take a picture of your license plate and surprise you, but I couldn't get to do it, and I didn't want to ask you to do it. You know.
No.
Okay. But that horse, you have some. So, Brent, find 2 of them for me. Give me 2 back to back.
2?
Okay? Yes,
2 back
please.
to back. 2 back to back.
Horse number 3.
They're at the post.
They're off in the Ontario Jockey Club Stakes, and Love You to the Moon broke running. Sand Cove is in a second and Just Rushing third. Society's chairman is fourth. Down to the inside, John O'Jones eyeing the competition from back in fourth. Second to last is Shotika, and Stirwins is allowed to trail back about 8 lengths off the lead of the front runner, and that front runner is Love You to the Moon. And they sweep into the far turn. The quarter was in 23-2, and it's Love You to the Moon who leads it by a half a length to Sand Cove. Society's chairman rides the rails. Just Rushing just to the outside of Society's chairman. Shotika's in fifth and 3.5 lengths off the lead. A break of 3 to the favorite Stirwins, who still has 8 lengths to make up, and the half mile was in 46. And they come over to the top of the stretch, and Sand Cove comes on the outside of Love You to the Moon. Then Society's chairman Just Rushing and Shotika to the far outside, and Stirwins is on the grandstand side. Sand Cove and Arrow leads. Society's chairman Just Rushing. Stirwins continues to close. Sand Cove hanging tough at the rail. Society's chairman Just Rushing. Stirwins on the far outside. Sand Cove Just Rushing. Stirwins continues to close. Sand Cove on the inside. Just Rushing. Stirwins, and it was Just Rushing. Just Rushing in the center has won the Ontario Jockey Club Stakes.
That's one of the races there, Leroy.
Come on, you got to give me another one. Don't get Emma going yet. Don't get Emma. Just give me one more, because I know what Emma started talking about. Look at her face on her. See, look at her face. Just give me one more. I'm just teasing her right now. I'm just teasing her.
2006, October 8th.
Yeah.
You remember that race?
Yeah, I do.
That's the fast stakes.
Yeah, I do.
You remember,
take a look
you
at
remember
that.
everything with our horse.
Edenwold to complete the line. They're at the post. They're off in the Mount Sassafras Stakes. A good beginning. Edenwold broke sharply from the outside, gets a tap on the shoulder from Ram Sammy in the early going. Just Rushing's coming on now along with Twisted Wit. Then Main Executive and Great Addiction as they depart the chute. Dave the Knave back 5.5 lengths off the lead. Then Awesome Action and Bad Hat. Just Rushing, Twisted Wit into their inside. Main Executive, an opening quarter in 22 4/5 of a second, and Ram Sammy has got Edenwold over to the rail. Back fourth in behind that threesome. Then there's 2 to Dave the Knave, followed by Bad Hat. Great Addiction, 6.5 lengths off the lead. Then Awesome Action. That threesome continues to go at it. Just Rushing's widest. Twisted Wit between horses. Main Executive to the inside. A lively half of 45-2 as they hit the quarter pole now. Main Executive Just Rushing. Twisted Wit is tailed off. Edenwold is under a ride. Dave the Knave has 5 to make up. They're into the stretch. Main Executive. And on the outside, Just Rushing. Emma-Jayne Wilson. And Just Rushing has taken a clear lead. It is Just Rushing. Edenwold's riding the rails, but it's Just Rushing to strike pay dirt in the Mount Sassafras. Edenwold second, and Main Executive was third. For the winner's circle in front of the grandstand, the winner of the Mount Sassafras Stakes. Number 6, Just Rushing. Just Rushing, a dark bay or brown gelding, 5 years old, by Wild Rush. From Day by Day by Day by Shanani. The breeder Adina Springs, now by Tucci Stables. Trained by Sid Attard. And ridden to victory by Emma-Jayne Wilson. 8 Edenwold was second, and 3 Main Executive finished third.
And
okay, Emma.
Memories?
Oh, absolutely. He was just amazing. I mean, I think part of it for me was just so early in my career, I connected with this horse. And I was thinking about this when Leroy and I sort of briefly chatted about the podcast, and I was thinking about some of my favorite horses. And, you can go favorite horses, the successful ones, the, top notch, the horses that are just, once in a lifetime. You can go to the lower level horses that, they still, pull on your heartstrings. There's that connection. And I'm like, what is it about that? And I think one of the things about Just Rushing was that he was such a teammate. When you play basketball with someone and right away you have a connection. You've never played with them before and they know what you're thinking, or, any sport, like soccer, cricket, anything. There's that moment where you have some of these teammates. Sure, you can get along with all of them, but then there's that one that knows you better than you know yourself. Yeah. And it's just epic. And that was Just Rushing. He was just him and just give me goosebumps all over. We just clicked. We're on the same page all the time. He wasn't an easy horse to ride. He was a little funny with his mouth. I'll give a lot of credit to Andy Sykes, actually, who was old exercise rider for Sittard, who really connected with him, in the mornings as well. So that, it made that team effort. But the Russian, he just knew how to run. He had that focus. He knew where the wire was and he knew what he wanted. And
it's like a sixth sense.
Absolutely. So that Mount Sassafras Stakes. So he was running from, mid-level claiming allowance races up until that point. And, he run on the turf, he run on the synthetic, he run on the dirt. And he was competitive on all of them. And that Mount Sassafras was his 7th in a row for that year. Like, he was just undefeated. And even Corey Fraser, shout out to the old guy Corey, who's still galloping. He rode him the one time because that was the first Sugar Cup I ever went to. It was like that time I couldn't ride him. I went to England and Corey rode him and he didn't screw it up and he got it done. But the Russian was just a competitor. He ran for so many years, and he was like one of my best friends, and was that connection with him. And I got to be honest, he was a bit of a jerk because I tried to breeze him one morning when Andy Sykes wasn't able to, and he wheeled and dropped me on my head and was just like, see ya. I'm like, oh, man. Sid was not happy, and I don't blame him. The outrider tried to catch him, and he was like, oh, you want to play? And he pinned his ears and it was gone. And Leroy, Rob Love, he doesn't get one pulled over him all that bad quickly. And he was just, he was my boyfriend. I loved him.
Well, you won 5 stakes on him. You won the Labib twice on him too, right?
Yeah. The when he retired, the two chiefs were kind enough to give me a call, and they said, Emma, I was actually off on injury at the time, and they called me and they said, would you like to take the Russian home? And I said, absolutely. My time with him as a retiree was shorter than I would have liked. His health went sideways on us, and we were unable to save him, and I was just absolutely devastated. I still have a bit of a hard time with it now. There's just those moments where it's hard. But I remember I came home afterwards, and I always said, I would love to immortalize him, and I did. So I said, I drive a 2014 Porsche Cayman. This thing's got some serious heart and power, and it's him incarnate. Like, there's just this, and so my license plate's Just Rushing, and it, no, and it's there, and so it's I think of him on a regular basis. And an interesting point, Leroy, that Mount Sassafras race, I hired someone, a graphic designer, to try and make a logo for me, and they kept doing these jockeys, and they all looked like old paintings, like these jump jockeys with this big hunched back, and it was like going over fences, and like, what the heck is this? And I finally said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do it myself. So I took up wind pictures, and that was Just Rushing winning the Mount Sassafras, and the way the sun was hitting his face, I sort of took a Sharpie and sort of sketched it out, did a bunch of times. and I'd scan it into my computer and kind of tweak it a little. You know, I'm no graphic designer, but I can make things work with a Sharpie and a scanner and some whiteout. Like, I got this. And my Wilson logo that is essentially everywhere is me in the win photo on Just Rushing coming to the wire. And it's very important to me to have his, you know, immortalized in more than one way.
Great. So all your Wilson jackets and stuff like that's him. Wow.
That's him. I have the win picture somewhere where, you know how Mike Burns puts them in the plastic sleeve.
Yeah.
So the first time I flicked through all the win photos, because oddly it was partially because the way the sun was hitting these pictures, they would make the right kind of silhouette that I was looking for. So I took the plastic sleeve with a little, you know, overhead marker, and I sort of traced it out. And I did it a couple of times. And when I pulled the picture out, I'm like, that's him. That's the Russian, and that's me. And that's, you know, it was just synergy, and I wanted that. So, you know, I scanned that in and sent it off to a graphic designer to kind of finalize it. But that's him. So you can even look at that win photo, and it's the same. You can hold them side by side on the logo, and it's bang on.
You mentioned something about retirement, and you took him as one. Let our fans know he's not the only horse that you rode that you also retired and you take care of too. Let people know, because I mean it's important that people know this, that although your thing is riding horses, you also done something with these horses that you're riding and as a retirement, and you also put some your financial part of taking care of that part of those animals too. So that's not you did.
Well, I mean, these horses have been so good to me. If I could, you know, not all horses, you know, need rescuing for you know that term. Some of them just need a good home, a good retirement, and you know, someone to take care of them. And I have a couple of horses. One of them did need rescuing. That was a horse Melnick bred, actually, by the name of Bell Gully. His his barn name is now Gus. He was in a bad situation in Mountaineer quite a few years ago. And actually, it was the groom of that horse that kind of brought it to my attention about a year after he had sort of disappeared from Mountaineer. He had reappeared and was, you know, it wasn't good. And his races were, he was uncompetitive. It was just not a good scenario. So, you know, through the networking that is horse racing, there's always someone at a racetrack that, you know, and I made a couple of phone calls and we managed to, you know, make it happen. So Bell Gully was retired and brought back to me, you know, just kicked him out to a field for a year just to let him get over his injuries and recoup. He attempted to be an outriding horse at Woodbine to see if he could be a pony horse for a little while, but you know, he's a little cranky. He didn't get along with everybody. So he is now actually a show horse at the horse barn that I learned to ride. So every now and then, he's good for the kids. He tests them every now and then. He'll lock on like a thoroughbred and be like, okay, maybe not as strong as he used to be. But, and another one was obviously Just Rushing. One that Leroy knows is Bear No Joke. When his career had finished, Reed had called me and said, you know, he's not going to race any longer, and would you like to have him? And I said, absolutely. You know, there's opportunities that if I could take them all home, I would. But that's, you know, ludicrous. We can't do that. But if everybody does a little bit to what they're capable of, you know, these horses are absolutely, we have to give back, you know, and not, like I said, not every horse is in a bad situation and needs to be rescued. They just need a different opportunity or a different option. And so, you know, Bear No Joke's option was to live out his life as a retiree. He enjoyed being a lawn ornament for quite some time. And then there was a young girl, a 16-year-old girl that took an interest to him, and she was part boarding him for a little while and putting him through some paces. And same again, he, you know, Thoroughbred, he challenged her a little bit, and, you know, it progressed her as a rider. Unfortunately, he went through a paddock accident last year. Where we were required, where he had to, you know, surgically remove one of his eyes. He lacerated his eye pretty bad, and you know, but because of the care that he received and the attention that he had, you know, it's not like it's just gone to the wayside. He was taken care of. He had proper. He went to Toronto Equine, you know, surgically removed and had top-notch care, and he's back out being a lawn ornament. He's good. So
but it's for me as a horse person, it's so appreciative of what you've done, and I wanted to mention that so our fans can hear what you've done. Also, you just go there and ride your heart out, but you also put your heart out to these animals and helping them also.
Absolutely. I mean, every racetrack that you go to, almost anywhere, there's aftercare. Organizations to ensure that these horses have a leg up, a stepping stone to another career, or if they're just going to go and live out the rest of their days being a horse with their head in a field and on the grass. So, it's important to me to be an advocate for that and help these horses if they need it, or give them that opportunity to just live out their days as happy as they can be, whether it be as a school horse in a school barn, or in Joker's case as a lawn ornament, or there's some of these horses that go on to be 3-day eventing. Like, these horses are athletes, they are competitors. Just because they're not the fastest on the racetrack doesn't mean they can't compete in other disciplines.
Mm-hmm. It's something I want to bring with you, Emma. We had some discussions earlier with Darren Gomez about the whip, how you use the whip at Woodbine. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that whip is definitely a hot topic. I mean, we're in the day and age where I don't think that the general public truly understand our game, and I think we as an industry are the ones at fault for that. We need to step up and advocate for what we do and how we play this game. And the whip is definitely something that people don't understand. And I wish that we as an industry did miles more to educate the general public, not just on whip rules, but horse racing as a whole. And, we at Woodbine have, in Canada, we've always been very on the forefront of, advocating for, the safety and welfare of our animals. We do it through action. I wish we did it more through a lot more education to boot. And, so I think that as a leader in this industry, Woodbine has, taken a hard line. AGCO, the Ontario Racing Coalition, so to speak, they take this very seriously. And so I think that the rules that we have in place here are a very balanced approach to enable, safe and proper encouragement, as well as ensure the animals are being taken care of, and any offenders, any even in the slightest of offenses, are handled strictly, and they're penalized greatly. And I think that's great. It's a phenomenal deterrent for people that are willing to there's always some bad apples in any industry, so you have to make sure that the deterrents are strong enough so that people don't offend.
One of the great things that we discussed is a soft touch whip. That's the terminology that's used. Back in the days, we call it a crop, or it was a whip in the back days, going back 10, 20 years ago. But now they call it the soft touch whip. And it makes a popping noise, but it doesn't really hurt. And this is one of the important things that we need to let the public know about our industry. It's more of a popping noise, not in actual pain and hitting the horse's flesh. And we discussed
one of the things that I find. Go ahead.
It's basically, we also discussed that a horse has a hide, and it's not just like our skin. It's actually a hide on their rump, and that whip is actually just making a popping noise, but it's not actually hurting them. But
one of the things that I like to use as an example for the misunderstanding of the riding crop, the whip, is you speak of back in the day, the different riding crops we had. We used to have a leather popper on the end. It was short, it was and it was hard. And then the next few inches of that particular riding crop had what was called feathers at the time, and they were these sticky outy bits that sort of stuck out and looked really barbaric. Frankly, they looked like barbed wire. But if you actually you show that to someone and they're like, that looks horrible. And I agree, it looked horrible. But the science behind what they called the feathers was to widen the lower part of the riding crop to enable it to disperse. Right. Now, those those whips in those days, we have come miles in terms of technology and equipment and materials that we use to, make sure that the equipment that we're using is of the utmost care for these animals. And like you mentioned, there's the light touch whips. And as long as those whips are using the proper materials with the right amount of foam, it's essentially a foam popper. Even the way they're attached, it's cushy. I mean, I would invite anyone to take a hold of one. Like they're just cushy, and like you said, there's a way that they the way they when they make contact, they make more of a clapping noise than they do about striking and hurting. So we have come miles and miles and miles in that regard, and we as an industry need to do more to help people understand the precautions that we're taking, the considerations that we have, so that they can understand that this is for the we love these animals, and that's what we're that's what we're doing, and their health and safety is of our utmost importance, without a doubt.
Very important, and that's the message we need to get across to everyone. There are a lot of animal lovers at the racetrack. We are animal lovers.
See the progression from even just like a museum style setup in any racetrack to the progression of what a whip, which was essentially an oak stick in the 1920s or whatever, through to the technology that we have implemented today with the research and the understanding and the numbers to support it.
Leroy, maybe we can find some artists or a creative expert to go back and create an actual whip, and maybe do an entertainment presentation in a glass case and put it at Woodbine or something.
Yeah, we're not bringing any of your whips into this, Brett, okay?
You mean the one with the tassels?
Hey, I didn't say anything. You wrote a long time ago.
Don't tell the age out, Emma. Don't tell the age out. Okay, let's get to some more excitement now. This is a little bittersweet moment for me. The Queen's Plate.
2007.
Why is a bittersweet moment for me? Because that horse was in our barn as an assistant trainer, and to see that horse go down there and win. Happy for you, Emma, but at the same time.
Yeah, no, I respect you, Leroy. You're a competitor. I get it.
Yeah, and
I've done that too. I've been sitting in the room watching winning, and I'm like,
yeah. So, but anyhow, this is your moment. Let's enjoy your moment. I'm not going to bring my sadness to your show. Okay, so before we get into that talking about that horse and that race, Brent, I want to watch the race first.
Yes. Mike Fox.
So I can get my pain away.
They're at the post. They're off in the Queen's Plate. Mike Fox broke alertly from the extreme outside. Alessandro showing early speed, and also right there is Twilight Meteor. To her is down toward the rail as they move in front of us for the first time. And it's Alessandro and Todd Cable. They lead it by a length to Twilight Meteor. Mike Fox on hold in third position. Jigs causes fourth through an opening quarter in 23-3. Marchfield's a little wide to the 7/8 pole. De Her will save ground. Into the first turn, Cobrador is in between Jigs Cause and De Her, and way back there is Include Us. And it's Alessandro. Todd Cable trying to ration his speed. With 6 furlongs to go, Alejandro leads Twilight Meteor through a half in 47-3. It's an honest pace. And they're into the backstretch. Alessandro leads at 3/4 of a length. The constant presence of Twilight Meteor is on the outside second. Mike Fox is 3 wide, and Jigs Cause is 4 wide at the midpoint of the backstretch. Then Cobrador gets a little nudge. De Her's drafting in behind horses. Marchfield is just 3 lengths off the lead. A tight group of 3-year-olds as they head toward the far turn. Alessandro on the front end. Looming large now is Jig's Cause. Jig's Cause draws within a half a length of Alessandro. Twilight Meteor has packed it in. It is Alessandro at the quarter pole. Cable takes a peek back and sees Jig's Cause. Jig's Cause is on the outside of Alessandro at the top of the stretch. And it's Alessandro asked for everything he has. Jig's Cause is on the outside, put the left-handed pressure. Mike Fox in a third position, and include us as fourth. Alessandro, Mike Fox is coming hard on the outside. Alessandro and Mike Fox on the outside. Mike Fox got it, and Emma-Jayne Wilson becomes the first female jockey to win the Queen's Plate in 148 years, and she does it with a masterful ride aboard Mike Fox.
Listen to that race call by Dan as well, man.
How did it feel to do that? How did it feel, man? What was the feeling at that stage?
Oh, euphoria. Just bliss. You don't even I remember being like, this just happened. Yes. I even now hit the, like when they hit the wire, I'm still there.
Still feeling that. Yes.
What just happened? Like, did this? Like, what? So it was unreal. It really was.
And he was
being the first lady to do it too. Did that? I mean, you ride better than most men, but first lady, man.
Well, that's
148 years.
That's one of the first questions that I was asked, and and this is going back to what we said earlier. There's a time and a place when representation is important, and I take a lot of pride in being a professional female athlete breaking barriers, and that was one of the moments. It will go down in history. I was the first, and that was the first question Renee Kieran's asked me. How does it feel to be the first female? And I said something along the lines of been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. It is now done. It's never going to be said again. And these are the types of things that you can look all over the world over the last, say, 15 years of horse racing, and you see women breaking barriers that used to be there. And we have a long way to go. There's still bias, like, don't get me wrong, but with each and every step, we're a step closer to that equality, and that's huge.
I mean, we didn't even ask you though, like, who are your idols that you used to look up to though? I mean, as a jockey and that kind of stuff. I mean, you had any favorites?
So because I was born and raised in Brampton, Woodbine was in my backyard, so I used to come to the races all the time as a kid. And I remember some of the greats. I mean, Sandy Hawley was legendary. I saw him the other day. I remember watching him ride. Larry Tard. And you talk about idols and mentors. When I was a student of the game, before I really became a rider, and I was studying to be the best. I was studying the top guys at Woodbine at the time. So you watch Todd Cable in that race. Yes. Todd Cable was just next level for so many years that, he would ride races with this confidence, of, nothing's going to stop me. And they would win, against all odds. Patrick Husbands, he's legendary in his own right, still going as strong. I mean, the guy is just unbelievable. I've watched some of the things he does on horseback, not just winning races, but just on horseback. This guy is an amazing athlete. And, so I would watch Huzzy, I'd watch Todd.
He'd been doing that from the time he was a kid. What he been doing? That? He'd been doing some of those things from the time he was a kid.
He has earned every accolade that man has ever had, which is, just unbelievable. And I would study these guys, they're going to be my competitors. So who better to be the ones I look up to study the ins and outs. I mean, Ram Sammy at the time was, legendary on the front end. And, he was, you get by him, you could outfinish him. You earned a feather in your hat, So there are these I would study and study and study to not only learn from to make myself a better rider, but to study so that I could figure out a way to best them,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
and so, you know, it's hard to think it's been so long, and going back now, I'm the old veteran with, you know, some of these guys trying to figure out ways to beat me. So hopefully I'm still leaving them guessing.
Well, that's the competitive edge inside of you, though, Emma. You know what I mean? And you still carry that competitive edge up till now. And I've been watching you for a long time. And any good athlete, I mean, from football, I mean, I watch a lot of sports. I grew up watching sports. Sports was what helped me put me where I am today, because I grew up in an abusive family, and playing sports took away that out of my mind. And listen to you talking, and I mean, you didn't go through that, but you became very competitive before you start race riding. And now, and I don't want to use it, sorry for using this term again, that female thing. I know. You don't
she gave you the eyes, Leroy.
Yes, she gave it to me.
But
it has to push you to wanna that competitive edge a little more, though. It have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I've been competitive, like you said, my whole life. My sisters don't even play board games with me because I'm like relentless. So, you know, it's you have to stay focused. But that being said, there's times when to be competitive, and I've learned my lesson with my sisters and the board games. There's times when to be on and when not to be. And I think that's one of the things that I find most enjoyable about the career that I have found. I can throw my entire passion, everything that, you know, those core pieces of who I am into my career, into my riding every day. And then I can come home and I'm satisfied by the end of the day with, you know, how the day's gone, and I can enjoy my time with my family and with my kids. And then the next day I get to get up and do it all over again.
So saying that, because I mean, I've watched you like a long time. It's just like, I just want to go from horse racing to something else here right now. And it's birds.
Yeah.
You got this thing. I mean, remember we had those, it was the Eagles or the Hawks. You can help me a little more with this because you're so much more into it than me. And they were by the race office. And the first time those birds got the nest and built it there and everything and got their babies, I mean, you were like a kid in a toy store. You know what I mean? So those are the things, and you were so excited about it, and you brought that, again, that competitiveness in you, even just about those birds. And
it's really neat. So I never thought growing up, you know, what's your favorite animal? Well, of course it's a horse. Like, what crazy person wouldn't be? But I've always loved hawks and falcons as well. You know, I remember drawing them as much as I would draw, you know, little ponies. They weren't very anatomically correct, but I still tried. So, you know, gray have always been a passion of mine. I do love wildlife in general. Like if my agent hates it, if something's gone wrong in the backstretch, be it a skunk, a goose, a little bird, like anything. People are like, "Where's Emma? She'll come and get it." And, you know, there's pictures of me holding Canadian geese with like string wrapped around them. I'll tell you a story. One of those red tails. So we had this red tail hawk nest about 6 years ago show up on the backstretch of the turf course, and actually one of the Woodbine camera guys is who really got it for me, because I'd heard about it and they zoomed in on it, and you could see the little hatchlings. They're, you know, probably a month old.
We did it on the race day.
Yeah, like it was just I ran to the phone in the Jockey room and I'm like, where is that? Who am I speaking to on the camera? Like, I need to know. Tell me. So I watched them from then on, and you know, unfortunately that clutch didn't fare very well. We had the 3 fledglings. They in the summer they took off. They were hanging around the track. A couple times we had to get the outriders to go and move them off the track because one of them was sitting there like, we're going to run you over. And one of them actually it was a Wednesday night, and he got hung up in the grandstand. Hit part of the grandstand has the big glass windows, and it was nighttime. The lights were on. Must have got disoriented, and he slammed into the window, and he's like flapping all over the place. And one of the producers had called me and said, "Emma, like, what do we do?" And I'm like, I got 2 races off. I'll be right there. And literally in my jock pants, I ran into the, through the catacombs with a big box and, my limited wildlife rehab skills that I had. I knew what the right plan was. So, here I am, jam this big red tail hawk. I put some gloves on and a towel from the jock's room and throw it over this thing's head and jam it into a box and close it up, And so I'm like, walk back into the jock's room. I literally have a red tail hawk in a box. Just put it in here in a nice quiet corner, made a couple of phone calls, but it was too late, to touch base. So got through some wildlife people, etc. But I mean, it really rekindled my interest in these animals. And, you can do what's called falconry. I've done a few falconry sessions. Actually, when I went to England, I had the opportunity to do a private falconry session. I got to hold an eagle owl on glove. And I mean, these things are just like impressive. And one of the most amazing things about any bird of prey, I mean, anybody that's worked with animals, dogs, you pet them, they look at you, they interact with you. Horses, you look at their eye, they look into your soul, they touch you, they mean so much. There's a connection. Birds of prey look into your soul and look through it. There's this fierceness and this ferociousness of just, don't mess with me. And it's just so epic that I want to embody that and to be a part of that. So the pandemic, it gave me quite a bit of time. Obviously, without racing, I was able to do a lot more reading and studying and, with podcasts and, things. So I was able to do a lot more work. And at some point, I plan to get my apprentice falconer's license out, get myself a bird and do some falconry, just to be a part of these amazingly majestic animals. And I tell you, there's a falconer, they do a lot of golden eagles in Mongolia. And they ride these little horses and they do it on the steep, and they send these giant golden eagles after these foxes to protect their herds. And I feel like it's like I've got to go and do that one day. You maybe not do it, but just go and see it. Absolutely,
on your bucket list.
Unfortunately, racing seems to just get in the way, and I'm okay with that right now. So maybe one day it'll happen, but it's second on the priority list, if not third behind my family.
So we're seeing you're an advocate for Woodbine Racetrack, and I think, Brent, you have a video still you have to show with Emma at Woodbine.
Yeah, there was a feature done on Emma going back, I think, in 2018. Okay. Let's take a look.
My dream was to be a jockey.
Those two, final 70 yards, classic stamp, and Emma-Jayne Wilson will win the Guelph Canadian Stakes.
Fulfillment of a dream. I remember driving down on the 427 with my parents looking up at the grandstand, Woodbine, and always wanting to be a part of that. My goal as a young rider was to be leading rider at some point in my career. And to achieve that so early in my career, it was surreal. With that season being as strong as it was, to give me a Sovereign Award as an apprentice and the Eclipse Award as apprentice in 2005, it was magical.
Alessandro and Mike Fox from the outside. Mike Fox got it.
It is our horse race. It's Canada's horse race. So to get that with Mike Fox and Ian Black and someone who's been ingrained in the history of Morgan Firestone of Canadian horse racing, it really meant a lot.
Career victory number 1,000 for Emma-Jayne Wilson.
Ride to win. That work ethic is a strong quality, and it's something I like to show my clients, that I'm willing to just do everything it takes to win. I am a Canadian, born and raised just around the corner in Brampton, Ontario. To go to different jurisdictions, different countries, and wear that flag with pride and compete against some top jocks in some of the best locations in terms of horse racing has been something that I could have only dreamed of being a part of. Gomez is ingrained in this game. He's ingrained in Canadian horse racing. His legacy as a rider, as El Perfecto, still lives on, and I still don't even know how to put it into words how honored and grateful I am. it's the game has been very good to me, and I'm humbled.
Yeah, we had to slip that in there, Emma. It should have been done earlier, but we had to slip it in there. And I know, time is running away on us, and I don't want your agent killing me tomorrow and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Keeping you up too late, and you have horses to get on in the morning, and into the afternoon you got to ride, and you're on top of your game right now and stuff that. You know what I mean?
Well, congratulations. You had a winner today for Catherine Day Phillips, right?
Yes.
Who says?
Yes, I'm still trying to catch my breath from that
one. Well, you got him home anyhow.
Yeah.
He's been long overdue, that horse.
Yeah,
you got him
absolutely.
home. So.
I think we checked. There was 7 races on the card, and you rode all 6 of them.
I think so.
Way to go.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good day. We hit the board in most of them, so yeah.
Good.
I think I do remember when you were talking about this, how short you were riding. I saw the parade ring, the parade for race 3 or 4, and I was like, man, she's riding short. But then you go back to say she's that strong, and you've got the muscles optimized to be that in control and strong on the horse. So way to go for that again.
Thank you. One of the things I'll give a little tidbit too about, I mentioned when we were talking about the riding crop and technology and the things moving forward. Another piece that I find has really helped me from a physical technical standpoint is, I'm not sure Leroy knows it, but the big D shape stirrups, they stick out quite a bit, and I find because they're light because of the materials we have nowadays, but they have such a wide base. It enables a more of a stable footing, and that's another piece to the technical aspect. So I've been able to shift my feet ever so slightly, but it's changed so much in my technique and my style as well.
It's amazing how much you can change in everything, in every sport we do today now. It's so important that the technology. And I mean, like Emma said, instead of walking that racetrack, she was going to get on the computer. So saving the time of walking, and she couldn't, analyze it from that way. So it's so amazing, and everything that we do in life today is amazing. Your kids and my kids growing up, what they're gonna have, with technology down the road.
Absolutely.
My
kids are using iPads now like it's nothing. They're learning their letters on them, and I'm like, man.
So it's so amazing that the changes that are making before us, right?
But Emma, is there anything else you really want to conquer before? Man, I know you still have a long time to go, but what are the goals you have to really put it in the mind?
I think to nail it down to like one race or one thing is not that. It's more about the fast horses. You get these. It's those horses like Just Rushing that may come along down the road where you have that connection. To constantly search. And I think it's the same for owners, it's the same for trainers, it's the same for grooms, it's the same for hot walkers, it's the same for fans. Is to find that horse that you get that connection with, whether it through you're watching it on the screen as you cheer home your $2 bet, or you rub it back in the backstretch, or you're the one on top of them. It's those good horses that just transcend the game that you want to be a part of. Those are the ones you're always looking for, because they can, not only can, you have a lot of fun with them on the track, they can change your life.
I love what you said earlier about writing your goals down. So it's still the mid-season. So why not let's reach for the stars and say, Breeders' Cup winner this year.
Absolutely.
Let's go for the classic.
Absolutely.
Believe it into fruition.
Absolutely. So, I had a chance. I went to the Breeders' Cup in 2011, I think. I rode X-Caper and ran second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and that was one of the a most amazing experience. You're walking in the Churchill paddock, and there is people everywhere, and it's just and race after race of like the best horses, you know.
Yes.
So we're always looking for the Queen's Plate winner of, you know, this year and next. You're always looking for that opportunity of those, you know, Breeders' Cup horses. And hey, maybe I'll get a chance to have a Gold Cup horse. We can get my way back down there. Right?
You've been watching.
Yes, absolutely.
But
come on, Sean, work on it, Sean. Work on it.
I can work on that.
Work on it, Sean.
But what I would like to work on, no, she said that. Would you
Yes.
come to Barbados, right?
I want her to come for Kings versus Queens.
Yeah,
You got Chantel, and you mentioned Haley Turner. Maybe we need to give Haley a call.
Let Emma pick
and we
her
can
team.
get her
Let
down.
Emma be the captain and pick her team.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna have to tell Jono Jones that, you know, the day before when I go fishing with him, he's got to bring me back because I'm making sure I got a ride. But I'm definitely having my chance on Jono Jones.
No, you ride first, and then we'll let Jono take you on the boat.
You've done this before.
No, but it's amazing. Sean and I spoke to the Barbados Tourism Authority yesterday, the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., and they said they're all aboard if we could pull together Kings versus Queens Championship race day.
Yeah.
You tell us, Emma, what will the best time of the year be for you? Would it be a January, a December, after the race in at Woodbine?
Beaches and Barbados with her family too. Let's make sure we push that in there.
We got to bring the kids.
Leroy,
I've
got
never
permission
been to
from the
Barbados.
Barbados Tourism
bring the whole
Marketing.
family
They
down.
told Sean last night that we got it.
Yeah.
They're all
And
for
maybe we could
sponsoring
be-
and bringing them down.
My Mountain Gay Silver, so we're in good shape.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh.
She's gonna come to Barbados and never leave.
That's a very big possibility.
Especially if Jono gets you on the boat.
Yeah, but Jono's a cockspur man, though.
What's that?
Jono drinks
Cockspur fine rum.
Ah.
You're drinking Mount Gay Silver, and he's a cockspur guy. I don't know how you guys can agree with that on the boat.
Rum is rum.
Rum is rum, I think, Sean.
I thought so, but Jono Jones, no,
I gotta ask Jono.
Maybe we'll have to be a little creative then.
I think Jono is actually on a plane, probably just landed in Toronto with Slade Jones. He's coming in tonight, so you might maybe he got a bottle of Mount Gay to give you, Emma.
I hope so.
He's probably got. Hey, Ev, he's probably got a bottle for Rogers, so you better be at Rogers' barn tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, see, that's what happened. I had a colleague of mine was coming down for the Gold Cup when I saw him in Florida, and I said, "So, do you think you could pick me up some silver?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So I've got quite a bit. I don't. Not that I'm I'm not going to go through that much that fast.
No, we're not going to promote that. No.
Sean, guess who our next sponsors will be? Mount Gay. And we promote the silver.
We get that on the jock pants down the side of the jock pants. So I'll be framing those. I could probably.
Yeah.
We have tried to do that too because we're not allowed to do that in Canada yet. They say you guys only allowed to use your name, Emma, and the PDF, right?
Yeah.
Well, so there's news to that. There's, from my understanding, we have been given permission, but there is a process.
Okay.
And I'm actually currently working on seeing about moving forward with that. So there's early stages. It's a little more difficult with rights and whatnot. So we're hopefully we can get that once the doors open, I think then it'll really start kicking on. It's still young and in early days, so hopefully you'll see something on movement on that this year. Hopefully,
that's great news, man.
We were talking about that, Sean. Imagine if we could get along the
Emma's
reaches,
on Canada
the
Day,
word
so she'll wear the
Barbados or
flag.
something.
Emma always wears the flag on Canada Day and stuff like that. And she's a bit of a prankster too, you know, guys.
Guilty as charged.
Did you see that? Did you guys see the? I saw her. I didn't get that picture with her Spider-Man in her house, and she's standing there sitting. You know, she's a little character there. She wants to be too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The Jesse Campbell and stuff like that.
Jesse, I love Jesse Campbell. Absolutely mad respect for the guy because I scared him so many times when he was riding. I think I was more disappointed that he retired because I lost my favorite target. Because I mean, a guy growing up in Chicago, you'd think he'd have a higher constitution for loud noises and scary situations. But he was the perfect target.
Oh, dear.
That's a whole nother show.
I don't think I want to go there.
Well, guys,
yes,
like I said, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and I don't want to get in trouble with your agent tomorrow. He's bigger guy than me, and I don't want to have to fight with him tomorrow, Emma. No. So before that happens, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we're so thankful that you've shared so much of great things with us about yourself, your family, your bird watching, and et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here. Sean, it's been a very long time, and thank you very much as, the advocate that you are for horse racing, not just in Barbados, but, North America, worldwide. This is an amazing thing that you're doing. Brett, as always, pleasure to see you. I can't wait to see you again when you come back to Toronto, COVID ridiculousness aside. Leroy, I will be whooping your butt and your dog's butt the next few days.
You will see me tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. And thank you for everyone that tuned in. I appreciate all the messages. So.
All right. Go give those
wonderful job, guys. Thank you.
Go give those little ones a good night kiss. Probably they missed a good night kiss from me tonight. So go get it before it's too late.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. It's a pleasure.
Cheers, guys.
Emma, and all the best tomorrow also.
Thanks, Emma. Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Take care.
All right.
Nice show again,
guys. All right, guys. Great show, Emma.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thumbs up, guys.
Yeah.
She's really great
talking about horsemen, right?
Yes. That's what we are.
That's what we are.
Horsemen, talking about horsemen with great horsemen and women. And we're going to continue that for...
Sean, pull up your shirt there 1 minute, Sean. Let's see what's that on your shirt. Oh, God. You're really wearing that shirt and shirt. Sorry, you Canadian, you Maple Leafs fans. Sorry for being so...
Don't worry.
Now, but
next year, man. Sean. Next year.
Don't worry.
You guys need help, Sean.
I'm a Toronto. Listen, when I first went to Toronto, I won 2 championships back to back. Okay, 89 and 90 baseball. I'll never forget that. My first year. So
World Series.
Yeah.
But we're talking Blue Jays, Sean, not Maple Leafs.
Don't worry. I can do anything Toronto, man.
No wonder
well,
you were hiding
the
it.
Toronto
no
Raptors
won it the whole night. You were doing worse to show it. Sean, or what? I just barely saw the Toronto part. I went like, uh-oh. But anyhow, I'm not going to put no pressure on you, Toronto Maple Leafs fans.
I got my friends from Toronto to supply me with this stuff, okay?
Okay, all right.
Right? Tracy and Ken, every time they come to Barbados, they bring me stuff. And I'm wearing them.
Okay.
Well, guys, we've got another great segment of the show coming up for all of you out there still listening in. I think, we got about 50 people still connected and still going. We got some excitement coming up.
Yes.
Take a look at this, guys.
Don,
we would like to now introduce to you and to our members and our viewers around the world, Darren Gomez, who is now the official executive director of the Jockeys Benefit Association of Canada. Welcome, Darren, to our show.
All right,
Darren.
Darren.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. How are you doing?
Good. How about you guys?
We're great, man.
It's great.
You can send us some of the heat and sun, though.
Well, that's what I wanted to start to say as well. We got some advice that Sean Hall is here, located in Barbados. I am located in Barbados. And you, Darren, where are you located right now?
In the tundra of Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
The tundra. What's the temperature today?
Well, it was 31 the other day, and I woke up this morning, it was 2.
Wow. +2 Celsius. Wow.
I've been hearing from a lot of my friends, man. Some friends who were in Barbados recently went back to Canada. They said, well, Sean, we need to come back to Barbados. It's really cold up here, and it's crazy.
Yeah, they give you a couple of days of suntan and weather, and then you got to pull out the parka again.
Wow. It's so amazing. The weather can be so up and down, especially in the spring and the fall, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. That's Toronto.
Well, as your brother used to tell me, the long johns don't come off until the middle of May.
Well, that's it, Darren. Darren used to be my brother's, Slade Callahan's agent for how many years was it, Darren?
Around 18.
Wow. That's a long period of time. Can you tell us some more about how that relationship started and how did it go?
Well, actually, it started through a friend of mine who Slade rode for named Tom Marino.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I was looking to become an agent, and he was riding Slade, who didn't have an agent. And he introduced the two of us, and as they say, the rest is history.
Wow.
I think
You're almost like family.
We've seen Tom Marino a couple times checking out our show. He has made a few comments.
Yes.
If Tom's watching, hey Tom, how are you?
Yes, Tom.
Yeah, that's how it all started.
And but when you spend 18 years with a guy, it's almost becomes a brother or something like that, huh?
Absolutely. I would like to think it's both ways, but it's something you never really ask.
Yes.
But he is probably, other than my dad and uncle, the biggest influence in my life.
Wow.
You don't hear that often, but it's interesting to get these things to come out on air.
Yeah,
absolutely. And the reason I say that is he used to come. My dad was never one to sit there and say this is right or wrong.
Right.
He would just say something and make you think about it. Like out of the blue, say to you, "What's the best attribute a man can have?" And I'd look at him and say, "Dad, I'm 8." And he'd just look at me and say, "The ability to mind his own business, and that'll serve you well in the future."
Yes.
I laughed at him.
Yes.
But 2 weeks later, it sinks in. You got to learn how to.
You
mind
remember
your
it
own
for the
business.
rest of your life, huh?
Yeah, and Brett, your brother was like that, because I'd get really mad sometimes if a guy took us off or didn't use us, and he'd say, settle down, it'll come around.
Yeah.
If you approach this properly with integrity and honesty, you'll get to where you got to be. And I never ever forgot that, because
my brother said
Sean,
that
dealing with owners, or you, Brett, riding. There's guys that you really want to get mad at, because they just out and out lied to you, used you, whatever. And it's all part of it. Don't get me wrong. It happened to my uncle. It happened to Holly. It happened to Lafitte. But when you're winning 9 a week, doesn't matter. You're winning 2, sometimes 3. It's a big hit.
Well, Darren, you were mentioning your family members. Tell us a little bit more of your close relatives.
I got lots in the game. I mean, obviously, my uncle Avelino, he went over 4,000 races.
Yes.
The great Avelino Gomez.
Still has one of the best overall win percentages ever. Could ride anywhere.
Wasn't that like 25% win percentage over his career?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 27, and on multitude occasions had 33.
Wow.
27%. That's like every 4 horses, Sean, you're winning the race.
Well, you don't remember things when you're really young that stick with you. But when I was really small, like 6, 7, 8, my dad would come home and I'd say, how many you win? 6. They only had 8 races and didn't run on Sunday. 5, 4. I remember one time, and you're going to laugh, Fort Erie's Amy was 5 weeks. And the first day, my uncle went 6 and got disqualified on 1.
Wow.
So now you come in for the next day, see films. And back then, there's no appeals or nothing, and there wasn't 3 days. It was 15.
15
So the
days.
first day, he wins 5, and they give him 15 days for the one they DQ'd.
Wow.
The second day, he wins 5, gets DQ'd on 1.
Wow.
So now the third morning, because the draw is already done, right? The third morning, they give him another 15 days. He wins 3, and he wins another 4. The meet's 5 weeks. Rode 4 days and still ended up 4th in the standings.
So his 5 week A meet at Fort Erie, he ended up riding only 4 days because he got suspended for the rest of the meet.
And he come out of the stewards room and said to my dad, "I'll see you in Toronto." He says, "How long are you going for?" He says, "Till September." And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They just give me days back to back 15. "Oh no, I'm gonna go see him." He says, "No, don't. I'm okay with going home. I'm good. I'll see you later."
But that was harsh, though. You know, that was. I mean, for those meat days,
Yeah.
you would think that it would be a little.
Yeah. And you, like I said, you had no appeal. You couldn't even go plead your case and get the 15-10 or anything like that.
Right.
It was their rules, and that was it.
Wow.
And it was really harsh because, like, you know, today we got 1 million cameras on 1 million angles. Back then they had one that was from the start, one at the 3/8 ball, one at the finish. So a guy in between there could do anything. They're making assumptions you did this.
Right.
You know, you could be going down the backside outside of a guy and he stands straight up. Well, your assumption is you cut him off. We're going to give you days. Well, I didn't cut him off. Well, why would he stand up? You know, it's a different ball game that way.
Big question mark.
Yeah.
So Darren, what's your new job doing now? What are you doing with your new job? Let's talk about that.
I'm the executive director of the Jockeys Benefit Association of Canada.
And what
tell us what does that do?
Tell us what do you do? Are you the head honcho of all jocks in Toronto and Canada? Period.
No, I don't know if I'm the head honcho. I mean, everyone has their place, but I'm the go-to guy when you need something done.
Okay.
You know, I get their insurance for them. I pay some of their disabilities.
Yes.
I speak on behalf of them when we have problems with the stewards or HPPA or the or any racetrack because it's all of Canada. You know,
went out
you're basically the
west.
voice of all of them.
You recently took a trip out west.
Yeah, I did too.
For
I
the
went
opening?
to DC and I went to Edmonton.
For their opening weekends?
Yes.
Great. How did that trip go?
Both were very good. I had never been to Century Mile. I'd only been to Northlands.
Right.
So it was good to see it.
Yes.
And they got a mile track and the surface is phenomenal.
Is it dirt or?
No, it's dirt.
It's dirt.
Yeah, all out west is dirt.
Okay.
And they don't have any turf, unfortunately, in any of the west, which, you know, is unfortunate because some horses do love it and move up. But
right.
The one thing about the west that I want to say it politically correct. I was raised here at Woodbine. And for whatever reason, the East made fun of the West and the West hated the East. And that's just the rivalry.
The rivalry.
Right. But going out there and spending some time, they got some of the coolest places going.
Okay.
Their horsemen are not only good horsemen, but they do whatever it takes to make their races go.
Right.
Now that's a certain amount of passion.
I'm friendly with a fella from BC. I don't want to call his name, but he rode a lot, got heavy. He's now a valet. Loads horses in the gates, gallops in the morning. I mean, he does everything to make that meet go.
Yes.
And does it with a smile.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
You know? And that's something that
that's a passion
is great
for the
to
sport.
see. Because that's passion. You can't pay a guy to do that. I mean, you pay him for a service, but you can't pay him for that love or that passion.
Wow. So did you get to meet any Barbadian guys out there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not so many in BC, but there's quite a few at Century Mile.
Yes.
And Jamaicans.
Yes.
I mean, I got
that's
friendly
some Trinidadians
with,
too, eh? Some Trinidadians, eh?
Yeah, I got friendly with Rico and Shamari from Jamaica. Really cool guys. Rafi Centenu's a really nice guy.
Yes.
In Winnipeg, Richard Mangley, really good guy, good rider.
Yes.
Antonio Walcott or Antonio Whitehall, sorry.
Yes, Whitehall. Yes.
And Kayla, really good people all over the place. It just I mean, they're there to make a living, but actually love what they do. You know what I mean?
Yes, correct.
And
so you actually found a lot of people out there, even though there's a rivalry between the East and the West, they're actually in it with a heart of gold. They love it. Yeah. It's their passion.
Yeah.
And man, we would love to promote. Tell us, Darren, and let all of our viewers know. We got Woodbine and Fort Erie, East Toronto area. What are the other racetracks that they have?
Well,
out
actually,
west?
Woodbine's West Toronto. Fort Erie's just over the Buffalo Peace Bridge.
Yeah.
South Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
We have Assiniboia Downs in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Century Mile in Leduc, which is just outside of Edmonton, Alberta. And Hastings Park, which is right in Vancouver. It's actually part of the P&E fairgrounds. It's really cool to see. I mean, you can go to the far end of the track and see the roller coaster.
Wow.
It's really cool.
You must get some nice photos from that racetrack with a roller coaster. Huh?
Yeah, it's and it was a pleasure to visit. Like, I had never been to Hastings, so to see I saw people that I've met in Toronto because they've come out, you know, like Trapper Barabee and his uncle and father and you know, certain people. Ziggy was out here for a long time working, and Lauren Richards come from out there, and Justin Stein. So it was cool to put a place where these guys started.
Yes, correct.
Excellent.
You know, and you can see how they have a passion because they do whatever it takes to make the game go.
I think, Sean, we're going to have to get some of our racing correspondents out west to get some of our journey shows coming up.
Absolutely.
In the future.
There's some guys that have done a lot of good.
Yes.
I mean, Trapper's family and himself are as deep into BC racing as you'll find.
Wow.
I mean, his uncle, I'm going to get them mixed up, but one's Frank and one's Harold, but his uncle was a recipient of the Gomez Award. His uncle won a gazillion races, and so did his dad as a trainer.
What was his uncle's full name again?
I believe it was Frank Barabee.
Frank, okay, great. And he won the
he's a recipient of the Gomez Award, which is given every year to somebody that, you know, displays not necessarily talent or number of wins, but displays racing in a good light. Is an ambassador for racing that does racing good.
And this is all based on your uncle, the great Avelino Gomez.
It's based on his name, and it's because he was that kind of showman.
Yes.
You know, he loved racing. He got the crowd involved in everything. Now, it would be difficult today because you have phone betting, computer betting, off tracks. I mean, when I was a kid on a Wednesday afternoon, you had 10, 12,000 people there.
Right.
Wow.
And you had that Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, 12 to 15. On the weekends, it was 20, 25. And these aren't big days. This is just a week.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
You know, so he had an audience that he could play with, and he loved that. You know, today I don't know if there's enough people to get that kind of action out of the crowd.
Well, we want to invite all of our listeners to go out and support their racetrack closest to their vicinity.
It's not
all
about
a bunch of horsemen.
You know, your brother told me one time. He says you're. And this was really early on. He probably won't even remember. He says, but you're a bit of an anomaly that way. How can you watch 100 races a day and not bet? Because he never liked to bet at all.
Right.
And he said to me, I like winning, but I don't like losing.
Yes.
And I get that. But I can sit there and I can put on TVG or whatever and watch 50 races, not even have an inkling to bet. I just love racing.
Yes.
Love you have a passion
when you
for this
see
job
a horse,
too.
You know, and favorites are a big part of the game. But I've always loved a horse that overcomes something, you know, like a Personal Ensign or a Play the King that had, you know, cracks in their legs that got screws and come on and win grade ones. I mean, Personal Ensign was undefeated. She had screws in her back leg.
What do you think of our recent Kentucky Derby winner?
I have to, as a fan, disappointed because I love the Triple Crown. But as a horse person, I applaud the restraint. Because it's not easy to give up that kind of fame.
Right.
I mean, that you win the Triple Crown, that puts you in any record book in the world.
Yeah.
So you're disappointed that he's not showing up in the Preakness this upcoming Saturday?
As a fan, yeah. Because I'd love to see as many. Because we've got complacent in the last few years because we've had a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But it was a gazillion years since Secretariat now.
But
it's not an easy thing to do.
I agree with the trainer, though. I think this horse is a horse that needs every inch of ground.
Right.
He had a lot of speed to run at. I mean,
right.
who says that's going to happen again?
That's my point.
Yeah.
They exercise good
judgment, man.
Good judgment,
disciplinary skills for the better of the horse and the horse.
Because, like I said, you fluke and you win the Preakness and the Belmont, you go down in history.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know many that could say we ain't going to the Preakness if he comes out good.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But a lot of those horses that did that though were big, strong horses, though. You know what I mean? The big, strong, and he doesn't look like that type of horse that could take that 3 races in a row. You know.
And I know everyone's going to think he's a fluke and he's this, but he's if you could see him, the way he acted after post parade.
Yes.
He's all horse.
With the outrider.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's
and
talking
I know people
about
jump
that.
on the bandwagon, but that guy deserves a raise because he got beat up bringing that horse back, man.
A lot of people that don't really understand the horse business don't understand that outrider was actually getting attacked.
Yes.
With the jaws of life from that horse.
And they don't understand that he's keeping that horse and rider safe. Because if he drops the rider and gets loose from him, who knows what he does?
That horse could have run off and got hurt. Yes. And the horse we're talking about is Rich Strike, the winner of the 2022 Kentucky Derby. Unfortunately, he won't be up in the Preakness this coming weekend, but Sean, we're going to have another discussion about the Preakness.
Well, we'll see if it's the right move come Belmont time.
Yeah. Well, Darren, it's great to have you on board. And we wanted to also talk about other things. I think, Sean, we're going to have to invite Darren in for another show.
Yes.
Because we wanted to get into some other discussions about universal whip rules, because that's the talk now for everyone around North America and the world. What are the best whip rules for both the horse, the rider, and for the safety of the sport throughout the world?
Well, I personally believe that there's a place in today's society for what I call the universal whip rules, because you have jockeys that are flying all over. And when you come to places with too many variables of rules, and the fines can be quite steep. They can be a huge portion of what you make. And I honestly think that that's very unfair. I mean, to put it into place, what's used now is what's called a soft touch whip, which has a very big poppy, which makes a sound more than it makes a hurt.
Correct.
We're not talking about 1950s
is
and
what
60s
all the
whips.
jockeys across North America use. This
Correct.
soft touch whip.
Right.
It's like a padded baton, maybe is a better word than whip.
Yeah.
And it's like powder puff, so it doesn't cut a horse. Now we got to remember, a horse has a hide, which is much tougher than our skin.
Correct. And you can hit it with your hand. I mean, you could wind up with a good wind up, and you're not going to hurt your hand.
Yeah.
No.
You know?
Wow.
But it's the perception.
Yes.
You keep hitting them, it's got to be hurting them.
Right.
And my argument with that is you got to know the whip and the horse before you can make that assessment.
Correct.
Right.
Because, you know, in the old days, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, there's no cameras. It was what the old timers called Hudson Bay rules. You did whatever you could. That's different.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people watching on the health. I mean, I'm part of a health and welfare committee for the equine animal. And I believe optics are important. And that's why we have people that govern races. If you're in what I call a dogfight in a stake for that owner, for that trainer, for that horse, because people that don't think horses know when they win haven't been paying attention, because there's just some horses that refuse to get beat. And you know that being around them. As well as that better, then we're not doing our game justice. Now, having said that, if you get a guy that's, you know, kind of lost his way a little bit with a horse that he thought should have done better, that's backing up, and he starts to beat that horse up, that's the first guy you got to call in. That's the first guy you got to find, and that's the first guy you got to give days to.
Yeah.
But honest to God, making a guy count how many times he can hit a horse is ridiculous.
What
you
are
lose
the
count,
rules?
I lose 3/4 of my pay.
What are the rules in Woodbine now for whip rules?
Well, to begin with, you can't hit overhanded.
Right.
And I believe it's there's been so much talk with all the tracks. I'll get it messed up, but it's either 2 or 3 underhanded hits, and then you got to give them 2 full strides.
Right.
Right.
And they just adopted one out west where they consider flagging a horse a hit.
So flagging is just showing the horse.
Showing his
right.
stick.
You're not even making contact.
Not at all. How that's considered a hit is just ridiculous to me. You know, that's just keeping a horse's focus.
Yes.
You know.
Well,
no
thank you,
different
Darren,
than
for
a teacher
sharing that
has
with
to
us.
keep 30 students focused in that teacher's class.
Mhm.
You know, you can come around the quarter pole. You've been on horses, Sean and Brett,
Yeah.
where they happen to look at the grandstand.
Yes.
You flag them that, they bring their head in and they stay focused.
Yes.
You haven't
Correct.
touched them, you haven't hit them, you haven't done nothing. But that's
Yeah.
considered a hit. That's ridiculous.
Very true.
You know? And,
Well,
and
we
I've
hope
always
to have you
contended
back,
and-
Darren,
and-
to clarify these rules and stuff, because I love the idea and the conception, a universal whip rule. Is this something we can have influence on and help Sean and Darren across North America?
I would like to think so. Because if it's a good rule and it's good for everybody, then there's no complaints. See, where my discontention comes in at Woodbine is Woodbine is a marquee racetrack.
Right.
And I mean, we have numerous in tons of graded stakes.
Correct.
And you have, and we'll use you, Brett. You're riding a horse for Sampson Farms.
Right.
You're based at Woodbine. You have to follow that 3 hit, 2 stride rule.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. Now, Mike Smith's coming in for the King of Morocco that's got $9 million gazillion dollars. And he says to him, I don't care what your fine is, I'll pay for it. You win my race. You've just completely.
So he can now hit more than me.
Because his
That
fine's
makes it
going to be
unfair.
paid.
Yeah.
Completely made that an unlevel playing field.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not
And
fair.
part of it is we want it to be even and fair for everyone across the board.
Correct.
So
But
that's
how
where you're
often does that happen,
universal.
though? Does that happen often?
Often enough that it's come up.
Yeah. Well.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I mean, Sean, you know, we got $1 million races.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
that's 600,000 to somebody. You don't think they're going to give
$1 million owners come to watch the $1 million
$30,000
races,
if
man.
the guy might get fined?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Don't worry about it. Do what you got to do. I'll pay your fine. You completely put that guy above everyone else.
Of course.
Wow.
But I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, that's not really nice at all.
No.
But what are you going to do? You
But
can't do nothing.
their answer to that is, well, we have the discretion to disqualify that horse then. I don't want to be the guy to make that groundbreaking rule.
Yeah.
You know? Why are you disqualifying the horse? Well, he hit him too much.
Yes.
He hit him with a soft touch whip.
Too much.
And the owner told me to. And now
Yeah.
you're going to take the purse away from the owner, the trainer, the groom, and the job.
Everybody.
Are you kidding me? I don't want to make that precedence, man.
This is one of the most important things that we all need to let everyone out there know. There's a soft touch whip. It's actually, it's not a whip anymore. It's like a baton, but it's a soft padded.
I'll see
touch
if I
whip.
can hustle one up for the next one so you guys can take a look at it.
Yes.
We'd love to do that, Sean.
Yes. That'd be great.
You know,
That'd
and
be
that way
excellent.
everyone can get an idea.
Yes.
That would be great to show all
Because
of
it's
our
really
viewers.
not about hitting. It's about
It's the
that
noise.
sound.
the
It's
noise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keeps them focused and keeps them going.
It keeps a lot of noise. It's that popping sound. Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like people, horses are very different. Some run for that.
Yes.
You know, you're
Yes.
not beating them up, but you're keeping them focused
Noise.
and you're keeping them going.
Yeah, the
And
noise
I've
keeps
said
them.
it before. The guy that, to me, that said it the best was Lafitte Pincay. I mean, he won 10,000 races. He got to know how to ride a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, 10,000 for sure. Lafitte Benkai.
Yeah.
He's one of the top in the sport worldwide.
Yeah.
And his answer to a lady doing an interview one time that said he was known to be harsh with his crop. He said, listen, this is how I view it. If I give that horse a crack and he responds, shame on him. He's getting some more. If I hit him and he don't respond, I get on my belly and ride. And that says it perfectly, because some horses do respond for it.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up watching guys like Penna win hundreds of races a year, just flagging them because they know it's there.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden, flagging them and showing them it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We got to address that
Mm-hmm.
because we really can't afford to lose some of our fan base and our gamblers because they don't think they're getting a fair shot.
Right.
Well, Darren, thank you so much for visiting us. Sorry to cut this a little short, but Sean, we're going to get Darren on in the coming weeks. I mean, we'd love to hear so much more about your family, the great Avelino Gomez, your dad, Mickey Gomez, and especially the role you're going to play in the coming months and years as the executive director of the Jockeys Benefit Association in Canada. With Sean Hall and myself both being ex-jockeys and most importantly horsemen, we want to help the horse industry around the world, but horse racing in general. And if you can help us, Darren, get these messages out, and we can help the industry with a universal set of rules for the whip, and maybe even the universal set of rules for the drug rules.
Everything,
of course,
because people, they just travel more than they used to.
Yeah.
You know, the vans are all air ride. You can fly. I mean, we going to Dubai to run horses.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So, I mean, it would be pretty cool. And fortunately, the States and North America are...
they're leaving us behind in Canada?
No, they're ground breaking in the sport.
Right.
So if we can set up some kind of rules, I'm sure Dubai and Saudi and those places will follow, because if it stays in effect, that means it works.
Correct.
Exactly.
And it's just hard to have so many places with such a difference.
Correct. It's true.
Well, Sean, Darren, we want to be your voice. If you want to come on the show and let's help the industry, we want to do that. Sean Hall, Leroy Trotman, Brett Callahan, Journeys, we would love to help, Darren. And thanks again for coming on our show.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Darren.
I just want I take one shot and let you guys know that it's my honor and privilege to let people know that the next Journeys podcast, talk show, whatever technical term it is.
Journeys the talk show.
Friend of mine, my dad's former jockey, and one of the best guys I've ever met, other than your brother, George
Other than my brother,
will be on your show.
Say that again. I didn't quite hear you. Who is the next person on our show, Darren?
George Hosang.
All right.
Great Jamaican and Toronto-based jockey.
Oh,
Will
man.
not find
Our
someone
viewers are going to be excited. Sean, it's out of the bag.
No
he
problem.
mentioned it.
He'll have
Darren,
stories for you all over.
Well,
Listen.
Darren, so you'll be on our show next week as well. So
If
we
you
look
want,
forward to that.
Because you got to remember, when George was doing his thing, guys, we used to have a TV show called Racing Canada.
Yes.
With and one of the biggest things was every second or third week, Brad, I can't think of his name, went to Caymanas Park. So it was a very big thing in the 80s, man.
Excellent.
Jamaican racing was big.
Wow.
Well, we invite all of our Jamaican
Brad
followers
Diamond,
and
that's
friends.
Yeah.
We invite all our Jamaicans and even Caribbean followers. Check us out next week. I believe that's May 26th, Sean.
That's right.
Am I
May
correct?
26th.
May 26th
May
at 7
26th.
p.m. George Hosang from Jamaica and Canada.
Yes,
and we will
absolutely.
invite you, Darren Gomez, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks a
Thanks
lot,
for
Darren.
having me, guys.
Have a great day.
You
Great.
too. Don't take too much, son. Send some this way.
That was it, guys.
Yeah, yes,
Wow.
yes, yes.
Wow. Journeys.
Together
Wow.
nicely.
Man, you guys are getting top notch up here, man. I'm just happy to be. I'm just happy to be part of it. That's all.
We're just spreading our wings, man. We're trying to speak to the right people. You know, we just want to be everywhere, and that's. I'm very happy about that, man. And I'm very glad that we got an interview with Darren, a great friend. I mean, you and Frank Tammy first came to Canada working with Travis Swan, and see his growth, see where he is now. It's great, man. It's amazing.
I love that the Jocks got someone in their corner to stick up for them and represent them officially. So,
correct.
Everything in life you try to do is do it better, right?
Keep trying, right?
Everything, keep trying to get better. Everything you do, right? And don't get left behind, right? It's so important that we continue to do that. And that's the same thing with this show that Sean has developed. I mean, Sean, kudos to you again. I mean, let me take my hat off to you for what you've done and what you're doing and having us the support of us, myself, Brent, Hammer, all the others that continue to fall in behind you and try to help you and doing what you're doing. Hey,
thanks.
The sky's the limit, buddy.
Man, it's so great that we've been able to speak to so much great people, and my goals are when you speak to great people and the younger people get to listen and hear. And I've been speaking to some of the young guys at the track, man. They're watching.
That's key. That's key.
And I'm happy to hear them say every time that we're learning things. And that's the most important. That's all I want.
Well, that's all I want. The message that you're trying to spread, right? The message.
Next generation, we always got to pass the baton on, man.
Yes, you have to. You have to. In any way possible that we can continue to do it. And Emma spoke about it, doing the same thing where she can teach. And hoping that somebody will come and ask her a question. She takes pleasure in sharing what, that to that person, you know what I mean? And I continue to speak about that young lady that you guys have been down there, hoping that, her next. Have you seen her since that Sean down there in the paddock and stuff like that?
I seen her once.
Just once, hoping that she would pay attention to what's going on because it's all about the future of our.
We need to keep her safe, and she needs to step up the game to be a professional athlete, right?
Exactly.
And that by her taking it seriously and getting racing fit, that will only help make her be safer out on the racetrack for herself, the other jockeys and horses.
Exactly.
I mean, we in Barbados are not. Foreign to women riders. Sonny Perkins did it in the 70s. Won championships. So it's from back then. Sonny knew how to keep fit, and she did the right things. And I know the opportunity is not as plentiful for this young lady, but you got to put in work too, man.
You have to, but you don't get there just overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes a lot more. I mean, we've been in the game for how long ourselves? We're still battling away, right?
Yeah.
So it's never ending. Sometimes people reach that pinnacle at a young age. Some people reach it at an older age. You know what I mean? And horse racing is here to stay.
Well, Leroy, with our conversation that Sean and I had with Corey Garrett from the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., it was so fruitful. I really believe that if Sean, you and I put our heads together and we actually follow through in what we've already got started, I mean, BTMI sound like they're fully behind us.
Yes.
We want to get Rosette Pierce on the Barbados Turf Club board. She's already supporting our show and enjoying what we're doing. You're pushing the talent of Barbadians worldwide. So why not? Let's have a Kings versus Queens championship and get Hayley Turner, one of the top leading female jockeys from England and the UK, with Chantel and Emma to come to Barbados. We could get them in for a week and have a few festivities. What do you think?
Promoting.
I mean, and if we could do that against 5 or 6 champions of our Barbadian riders who've won championships in North America, or whatever, because we got about 10 of them. You know what I mean?
Bring them home.
Bring these ladies here.
Yeah.
And have a big festival week, or do something big. I think we just got one thing going on here, which is in March, which is the Gold Cup, but there's still December, January, February. You know what I mean?
I think if we got something just after the racing meet in Woodbine, maybe even before Christmas, or I don't think families want to be away for the Boxing Day.
Yes. Correct.
Maybe early January.
Yes.
Would be good to lead up to getting people excited about the Gold Cup.
Yes.
Because I think it's gonna be a big push. We've gone what, 2 years without the Gold Cup now?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So this next Gold Cup, we would love to get some international stars in for it. Maybe even Emma will fulfill her dream of winning Barbados Gold Cup.
Yes.
The excitement that would be on her face, she would be flabbergasted. I think she'd be like, Queen's Plate? This is like craziness in Barbados Gold Cup. And you know, all
and
the
don't forget,
people on the track.
The great one, Sandy Holly, he did it already. So it's time for another Canadian jockey
to fulfill that.
Of course. And he thought he had a great time.
Well, imagine if we got Emma and Chantel to ride in the Gold Cup. We're talking about a Kings versus Queens championship in like January or December. But what if we could get maybe even Haley Turner, all three of the lady riders in the Gold Cup? Man, that would bring out the crowds again. I think.
Of course.
That'd be amazing.
Time would tell, man. Time would tell.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, guys, we got a lot of people on our show. We want everyone to shout out to us and let us know what city or country they're tuning in from. We got Kerry Dupless. He's got a tip for tomorrow and a Black Eyed Susans. Miss Yearwood, 20-1.
Yeah. And don't forget, Kerry, I think I could break this news now. Kerry is going to be, I guess I could break the news about everything that's going to happen going forward, man. Kerry is going to be one of our correspondents in the future, working out of Florida. Chris Griffith will be working out of Fort Erie, and Tyler Gaskin will be doing all the work at Woodbine. So those are the three guys that are now on to the Journeys team, and we look forward to see what they bring to the table, man.
We look forward to their clips.
Yes.
Building up. Building up. Come on, boys. Bring it on, boys.
Bring it on, boys.
Let's show them what we can do.
I don't know how I missed this. Our BTMI weekly race import, Kerry also told us that Jet Li won, and we forgot about him. So congratulations to him.
Yes.
Which race was that? You remember Leroy?
Jason Hoyt.
When was that? Today or?
I don't know if you want it today. It might have been.
No. Not today.
I'm not too sure.
Kerry, if you're on, send us a note and let us know what day it was. I don't know how I missed that. I'm going to have to pay more special attention in compiling our report to let everyone know. But thank you, Kerry, for dropping in the note. And look at this. Jennifer Morrison, very enjoyable listening to Emma.
Yes.
Thank you,
Jen.
Jennifer.
Thanks, Jen, for your
being
tips.
a part of our show tonight.
Yes. And in the future, I really like that she's come on board. Also, that's another lady's on board with us with Journeys.
Sovereign Award winner,
Sovereign Award winner. I mean, this was a great night. 2 ladies, Sovereign Award winning ladies on our show tonight. You can't get any better than that, guys.
Look at the comment our racing correspondent from Toronto said.
Oh, Tyler.
Emma rode the belly off of S1 today. Tyler, keep those videos coming, Tyler. We want to see more.
Yes.
And look at a comment from Vernon Scantleberry.
Yes.
Looks so good in the saddle. Much better than the leading riders, excluding Patrick.
He's biased, man. He's biased.
Marianne de Gans.
Yes.
Emma's awesome.
Marianne's in Barbados now, actually. She came to see her favorite horse, Corsi. And, yes. She came today and she saw him at the beach and stuff like that. So I got a good report. I got a passing grade that he's looking great.
So Marianne just touched in, so we know she's from Barbados. Well, she's in Barbados right now.
She's from Canada, man. And she came
But
to see
we
her.
want to know where everyone's logging in from. Remember, you said Jason Swift was logging in from Australia.
He's from Australia. I mean, Jason and I won't break this news yet, but Jason has helped me a lot in the last few days, and yes. So,
oh, exciting! Maybe we get somebody from across the pond.
Very far across the pond. It might be down under.
Down under. Look, Noel Randall said loyalty, the first word that comes to mind with Emma. I don't know another successful jockey who stayed the course.
Yes.
Very reputable comment there.
That's my brother there, man. We were barn mates for years in the sales barn, so I love to see Noel commenting because we
and Sean,
spent a lot of time together.
Remember last week we made a shout out? We were looking for Edwin Weeks.
Yes, he's back.
There he is, Edwin. Here, Mr.
Humble
Weeks.
apologies to Brett for not showing up last week. Are you still here, Edwin? Give us a shout out. Let us know where you're connecting from.
I give him crap on this morning too, you know. Say don't let the boys have to be looking for you anymore, you know. So Jason won that race on the May 14th on the for Ronaldo Holder.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought we did that though.
That was Saturday. No, but that was last week Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
He won the race just after our last
for
show.
Ron Sadler, sorry. Ron Sadler. It was
Ron
Jason.
Sadler?
It was Ron Sadler, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Northern Ruby.
Yes, I remember.
Okay. Well, shout out and congratulations to him.
Sure that was a gray horse too. I think I remember that gray horse.
That one, no, that was a chestnut horse that he rode that day.
Okay.
Yeah. For Ronaldo Holder, it was
That's Mr. Silver, man. Shout out Mr. Silver. Wow.
Wonderful listening to the show. Great.
Yeah. Nice hearing Mr. Silver.
Yeah. Wayne White. Wow, Dave, come in. I didn't see this guy in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Trinidadian. He used to exercise right at Woodbine. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's like you, Sean. He like to write a lot of music.
Okay.
Trinidadian, yeah.
Look at this comment. This comment was a little too long, so I have to show two separate ones. But read it off there, Sean.
Good night, everyone. Very good show. I sent Emma to work her horse on the main track, and I thought something went wrong when Emma was backing up the horse. Nothing was wrong. Emma was watching the hawk.
There's our guy Edwin shouting out Emma for all that she's done for the backstretch workers.
Yeah, because I think one of the COVID years she went and got Tim Hortons gift cards for coffee and give everybody the whole backstretch. She did it for.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great, man.
So she gave everybody a gift card. So I know that was one thing she done. So that's what Edwin is mentioning that part.
Okay.
Good stuff.
It looks like Abdul is from Trinidad. Is he flying the TNT flag high?
Yes. And don't forget, man, we had a great show last week with Joe Hadid.
Joe Hadid, yeah.
King from TNT, man.
Yeah.
It was so good to thank him.
I'm waiting for his book, man. He's supposed to send his book, and I got a few people here who really want to buy his book, and I am trying to show off when I get it.
But Sean, we got our racing correspondent, Chris Griffith, mentioning maybe he can be one of our first repeat guests. I mean, I think Mr. Hadid has a lot more information that he can provide us with.
Yes, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people love the show, man.
I saw Emil this morning too, and Emil even mentioned he hears some things that he didn't even know from when Joe was speaking too. He was listening, you know. So Emil told me that this morning too.
Henderson, man. Thanks, Henderson, man. Thank you, brother. Yeah, man. I mean, I so much people have really enjoyed the show. Thanks, Sean.
There's Sean again, yeah.
And I haven't seen my fella Chris Martin in ages, but all Chris says is
Chris
George
Martin.
Mustang.
There's Sean's buddy.
That's my buddy there, man. Listen, Chris Martin, I'm gonna be calling you to get more information about for George Mustang, because that's all I used to hear about when I came to Jamaica and working in Lawrence barn with all those Jamaican guys. And Chris is a guy who, listen, Leroy,
Yes.
This guy is the man, Chris.
Genuine, isn't he?
Jesus.
Yes. I know Chris. I see Chris every morning.
Man, but what he did for us, though.
Yes.
What he did. They're in a Barbadian that ain't got his DNA running through the blood, man. He did so much for us.
I mean, there's another guy that you have to invite on the show too, to to speak.
I would invite him, but I don't think Chris he didn't want to come. But we gotta squeeze him, man.
No, don't worry. I'll start working on him from tomorrow then.
All right.
Chris, we're coming for you, man.
No, because don't forget, Chris and those guys were from Jamaica in Canada from the from the 70s, mid-70s.
Marlon Price.
Hey,
Marlon.
Marlon, man.
Yeah. This is Sailor Boy's brother, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, he won the Triple Crown this year.
That's right, yeah. He did call me and he's trying to get back up here too, because he was up here before.
Yes.
Yeah. We're working on it, boys. We're trying to get you guys up here. We're trying to do everything we can. I already got, the trainer got the advertisement going for that young man already. So now we gotta wait till that advertisement.
Colbert?
Yes. So that's not Colbert is the exercise rider.
Yes, but
the groom.
Yes, that is Akeem.
Akeem,
Right.
sorry, yeah.
But Colbert has interest also. And, so everybody we showcase have created some kind of interest and being worked on right now. So
we actually are making some communication with the HBPA, the Horsemen's Benevolent Protective Association in Canada. I got a few numbers and email addresses and names. Leroy, I got to talk to you in the week, figure out a plan of action, because I think they will love grooms and hot walkers and exercise riders, and I think we've got a plentiful load of them all ready to come to Canada, man.
So from what I understood, though, they're working on trying to get the process changed so that they don't have to go through all the red tape taking so much longer. You know? Yeah. Because like I said, I know there's trainers on the back stretch, New York City. Wow.
Sean?
Yes.
Thank you.
How you doing?
To Cleo Austin?
Yes.
From New York City.
New York City. New York.
Yeah, like I was saying, I know that, because I know that the few trainers that having to ship horses out.
Yeah, Henderson's in Arizona, man.
Wow.
Phoenix, Arizona.
What are you doing out there, Henderson? Working. Wow.
And look at this.
Wow.
Howard
Philly.
from Philly.
All right.
Man, look at what are you doing, Sean?
We got people. Wow. Jennifer. I love Jennifer.
So
yes.
we got a comment.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know, guys.
Yeah, that's Kevin's agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. That's Kevin's agent.
You're not the only agent on.
I know.
We got guys logging in late, but at least they're here, right?
Yes.
Now log in.
No
never too late, buddy.
Never too late. Good night.
We miss out big time. Sorry, you didn't miss out. You can still go watch it on Facebook and YouTube and everything else. So you didn't miss out. You didn't miss out the live show.
That's a reminder to all of our listeners. They can easily go and rewind and play it again.
Yeah, so you didn't miss out. You know what I mean?
You're on YouTube, man. Don't worry.
Edwin
is still here. Look, he's making up for last week.
He got strong now.
He's making up for last week. He went to sleep early on us last week.
This is my young friend here, man. He's a youngster, the future star. Thank you.
How old is this kid, man, Sean?
I think he's about 11.
Wow.
Tell me how old you are, man. I'm sure he's 11 years old.
Darren Bisfam.
Yeah.
If you're still listening, let us know your age, where you're tuning in from.
Yeah,
and look at this. We got some support. Kings versus Queens sound good.
Yes.
I had the best youngster from here as well. Rasheen Youth.
Yes.
Of course.
I mean, all these guys now, Rashid looking to go overseas.
8. He said he's 8, Sean.
8.
Wow.
He's younger than I thought.
Man, your mother know that you're still up, kid. Well, he's based in Toronto.
Yes.
And I know tonight was a wonderful show, guys.
Thank you.
Great show. Keep it up.
And look at this. Vernon Scantlebury is in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yes. Indiana, man. Yes.
Wow.
We got to make a note of all these countries and cities that people are coming from, man.
Yeah.
Wow. The word is going around. I just want to talk about that youngster a little bit there. 8 years old, you know what I mean? That's impressive.
But that's how we are in Barbados, though, Leroy. We start young here, eh?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I mean, in this era right now, this is pretty good to see a youngster at age and paying attention to what's going on here.
Tell a show like this.
It's something to talk about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
8 years old. That's a significant age group.
He said, I'm out about his breakfast from the coffee truck. Wow.
Yeah. You know, but like I said, this youngster, I just want to just think on this youngster a little bit more because this is something to talk about, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then, like you said, a lot of youngsters at the track right now, the things that they're doing and stuff like that, and we're trying to change young people mentality and stuff like that, and trying to, you know, show them some respect to our elders and trying to, in order to go forward in life and be, you know, establish.
You got to step up.
Have to step up, and this youngster is 8 years old. That's impressive.
Listen, this just shows people, right, that here in the islands, we got young people interested in horse racing from
8 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick Husbands was this type of age too when he was involved in horses and stuff. Patrick was the same thing. I used to go to horse races when I was even younger than that.
No. I'm not disputing that thing about that. I'm just saying in this time now with these youngsters, you know, with all the structure and stuff that a lot of them don't have and stuff like that. Here's a youngster at 8 years old, and yet I don't think he's missed a night yet since we start doing this.
No,
I've noticed him a few times.
Let's make sure we talk about all this stuff a little bit, and I don't want to board. I don't want to board people about it. You know what I mean?
Well, he keeps sending us messages, man. He's still awake.
So that's what I'm saying. This kid, hey buddy, listen.
He can't be 8 years old, man. He's too.
You sure you're 8 years old, man?
You saw the things he's talking about.
Are you just using a little kid's picture on us and fooling us or what? Huh? Come on.
Grantley.
I know.
This is my buddy here, man. This is one of my buddies I hang out with on mornings, Grantley. You know Grantley, Leroy.
I'm not sure if I do.
Yes, you know Grantley. Grantley used to work with Burt back in those days, and used to help out with that fast horse son used to ride Manny C and Jockey and all those type of horses. PU. You know Grantley. I tell you,
I gotta know him, man. With those horses calling, I gotta know him, man. But just
I can show you a picture of him of the younger days, and you know him.
Yeah, no, I would know him, but just trying to remember. I would try to remember. It would be hard.
Yeah, my Grantley has been around forever. Derek Lynch, good night, everyone. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Derek, man. That's Derek from New York.
Derek from New York.
Yeah. Yes. We got to give props to these guys in Charleston who are doing good, man.
Doing some great racing over there. Okay, we got Azarian. He says
now he's gone from 8 to 11. This guy's playing games with us, man.
No. I know he's 11, man. He's 11. He's 11.
11?
Yeah, because he said 8 the first time.
Yes, but I know he told me before he was 11.
Oh, okay.
I knew that when talking to before. So I know.
He says it was a typo.
Oh, okay. Well, youngster, I just want to make sure that you're on top of your schoolwork. You know what I mean? Horse race is never going to go anywhere, but make sure, please, it's important that you know your education is number one first, and the horses is number two.
Correct.
And any way possible, you know what I mean, that you're sitting and listening to the show all this time and taking a lot of advice from what we're trying to help you youngsters with. And I want you to take it very serious, your education, and go forward in life and be respectable to your elders and keep your head on your shoulders.
And this is a real intelligent kid, you know. Don't fool yourself.
Yeah. So
he's real intelligent,
you know
man.
what I mean? And I mean, applause to your parents if you both of them are still around, because you got to be learning something from them and something good. Because what you're seeing and being on the show every night, I have to take my hat off to you, kid. I'm taking my hat off to you. It's all about you.
Support, man.
It's all about you right now for me, kid. All about you. I must say, and my heart goes off to you, man. Great.
Marlon Price, man. My brother.
All right, guys, we hit that. Who's this now? 5 minutes.
And look at Edwin.
Yes, a younger Edwin, man.
Edwin, the only thing I hope, because me and Edwin was in the same class at West St. Joseph, hey guys?
Right.
Let me just share this one story with Edwin. Yes. You know what I'm gonna say. And whenever the teacher left this classroom, Edwin would get up and go to the board, the chalkboard, and draw the racetrack. So Edwin,
you see, but you see what Edwin's saying is you know him as Winston. That's why.
Okay.
You would know him as Winston.
Okay.
Everyone knew him as Winston.
Okay.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's Grantley now.
Okay.
Grantley Boyner.
There's Sylvester.
We're still going up, still boy. Good night, sir. Oh, listen. I did an interview with this guy here, Neville Griffith. It's great.
I'll be coming up in the next show, Sean.
Yes, it'll be coming up next show. Neville.
He's a group, Sean.
Yeah, you know Neville, man. You know Neville. You know Neville used to go with Frederico and all those good horses and shared adventure and all those great horses and
a clear skin guy
with Aspire Adventure.
Huh? Clear skin guy.
Yeah, you know Neville.
Man,
I did an interview with him and Sharky. I did Sharky and Neville.
Yeah, you see the kid. There's my boy again, man. This kid has got me here, Sean. this kid has got me, Sean. Okay, buddy. Man, you gotta be good friends, man. Because I wanna. You know, I want to support you, man. At 11, I'm your best friend right now. I like the youngsters, man. You know?
Yeah.
Leroy.
Back in the day when you were with Dr. Ward. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's a guy knows me then.
Yes, I tell you. You know him, man. I know you know him.
John, you take a picture and send me with this guy because I have a better know who he is.
It's best for me to take a younger picture because you left when he was young and you would have grown with him. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I got many pictures.
Sorry, Grantley, man. You know, when you get old, you know what I mean? The timers, kick in.
You know him, though. I tell you, you know him. Because he was around when all was around.
Yeah.
He grew with us. He grew with us.
Your boy, Leroy, is asking about Slade. My brother, how has he been? Slade's doing well?
Yes.
Working in Ocala,
yeah. And he's on a couple horses this weekend, too, for his wife.
Yeah, he's riding a couple on Sunday, I think.
Yes.
So they're going to be 2 Slades in the Jocks room on Sunday, Sean. Slade Jones and Slade Callahan. I don't think they're riding in the same race, but
they'll be in the room.
That would be great.
That's good. Yeah, that's great, man.
Man, wow. we keep getting out. Hey, we're putting in our place, guys. We got to remember, Safi has the Preakness Stakes.
Yeah.
Leroy, this is your boy.
This youngster, man, I'm telling you, man, I got a good friend here now, Sean. Forget about your Brett, man. I got a buddy here right now, man. Sorry, guys. Okay, buddy, we're gonna talk a little bit about that Preakness Stakes, but hopefully, this horse.
I think Safi's drawn in the 9 hole, isn't he? 9 out of 9 in the Preakness.
Yes, I thought I saw that in the interview he did.
What are his chances? Anyone know his odds?
I don't really know much about the horse, but right now it seems that it doesn't really matter. Look, a 30,000 claimer just won the Derby, so I don't think people worry about what chance you got. It's who shows up more so than the chance.
Well, he's 20-1. And his last start was the Wood Memorial. He just finished 3rd, getting beat 3 lengths. Right? Junior Alvarado rode him. The race before that, he just won an optional 75. So he's got to bring his A game with these horses.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So he ran a 6 on the rags last start and a 99 speed number. So
I think he's got morning line odds at 20-1.
Yes, 20 to 1.
Skippy Longstockings, Kentucky bred.
Yeah. He's got an outside post. He's got a 9-hole. Yeah, Alvarado's riding him. He won his last start at Gulfstream, you know, and just an optional 75. Every time he's only win 2 races lifetime. So he's got to really bring his A game here if he's going to run against these horses. But again, anything can happen in horse racing, right?
Correct. Leroy.
Yeah. Yes.
Your boy's speaking to you. He's telling you it's 20-1.
And he's giving me all the info, man. This kid is on his game, Sean. Hey, buddy, when you go to the races, you got to go introduce yourself to Mr. Sean Hall, okay, kid?
Absolutely.
You have to find Sean and introduce yourself to him, because I know you go to the races, so Sean can see exactly who you are. And we can talk a little more.
I think the Preakness Stakes is post time 7:01 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. I was doing some research, and I mean, the Preakness Stakes on Saturday, May 21st, is Maryland's biggest infield party fest, a great culinary, art, and music festival. Man, I know there's COVID and we're getting out the COVID stuff, but wouldn't it be great to be in that infield, Sean?
Yeah.
They have performers singing and culinary art. Wow, all kinds of music.
Yeah, that's what the Derby was. They had the infield loaded up too, so it's really good. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's another great show.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks a lot, guys, man.
Yeah, another good night, buddy. Another good night again. Yeah.
We keep having these great nights.
Yes.
And thank you guys, the team.
Hey guys.
Team of guys who make this possible. Can't forget the Hammer.
Word.
Emmanuel, man. What's going on, Emmanuel?
Emmanuel Oxley.
Yeah.
And better known as Manny.
Manny, man.
Sean saying he's been to Maryland.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Anyhow, but thanks again goes out to our sponsors, the Barbados Turf Club, Rosette Pierce, and Mohammed. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to continually working with you. Don't forget, you can bet on the Garrison's races. I think we got a race day coming up next week, Sean, don't we?
Yes, on the 28th.
28th?
Following, not this Saturday, following Saturday, yeah.
Right.
And don't forget the online betting for you folks in Canada.
Overseas, yeah.
Yeah, or overseas period.
Tune in live.
Wherever you are, you know what I mean? We need some of those dollars coming home. Right? It'd be great. Don't forget about us.
Yes, most definitely.
Good night, kid. You know what I mean? And BTMI.
Yeah.
I mean, he put some. Lord,
we got some great ideas out on the table, Sean. We just gotta
run with those ideas.
Try to execute now.
Yes, we have their attention, so we gotta start doing the right things, man.
Right. All right, guys. Let's wrap this up. And thanks to all our listeners. Please continue to listen in on YouTube, and Facebook, and Twitter. Send us your comments even after the show. Let us know where you're listening in from. Which city or country, and we look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday, May 26th, for George Hosang at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Guys,
good night,
it's been a great one.